How about now?
Yeah, it's good.
How's that? We're good? Yeah. Did you catch any? You were asleep for Jeff's live yesterday, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah, oh yeah. I've been asleep for yeah. I slept from the time this live ended until like this morning, pretty much. Except for like once I think I texted you. I woke up briefly and then fell back asleep.
Yeah, I think that was right when I finished. It was fun. I put on a safari outfit. That's what we were talking about. I had on a nice bucket hat.
What?
Well, because we
Don't
were
go.
we
I
were
love bucket hats.
we were going on a Maga hunt, and so I thought I should dress appropriately. So some people were wondering if tonight you were going to show up in Jeffrey's live in some sort of safari outfit. So I just wanted you to be aware that that's where that's coming from.
I do love bucket hats, so I'm all on board with that.
Do you have
Yeah,
one?
update on me. So yeah, I slept like 12 hours, so that's good. I have a mild fever. I'm okay. I've talked to my doctor and he's just like, as long as the symptoms are mild and I don't go around anyone ever, I'm just isolated. My dad has COVID and I'm taking care of him, so it's not like I'm around other people. So as long as I can do it, I will be there today. I'm gonna be on Jeff's live today with Nemo. So yeah, like I'm gonna try. I'm feeling under the weather, but yeah, I think sometimes what else am I gonna do, So my plan is to be there.
Well, look, I think I texted you this morning. We've done now, I don't know how long yesterday was. I'm going to say in the last two lives, we've done about 15 hours. And
Yeah, Saturday was a long time. Was it Saturday you were on there
yeah,
or something? It was a long time.
yeah. And well, maybe it was Friday. I can't remember. I don't think we've had one sane person, like not one. I don't know what's going on. Yesterday, like three or four of the guests just were obviously reading a script. Like and we'll talk about that today. I
What?
see user 350498 in the box. Just let Jen know if you're opposition and she can bring you up. Just say the word
Oh yeah,
opposition.
guys, tap the screen. Let's keep tapping the screen. We want to get to the For You page. I think I'm shadow banned right now, so we definitely need to tap the screen today for sure.
Well, there we go. Welcome.
Hey, how you
Ask and
guys
you
doing?
shall receive.
Good, man. Is there anything you want us to call you?
User.
User? All right. Good
That's
enough.
fine.
Welcome.
I'm like anonymous. I'm hidden.
All right.
How you guys doing today?
Good, man. How are you?
Doing good. Uh, I want your guys' opinion on this. How do you guys feel about the Democrats asking Joe Biden to bow out?
I think they're being babies.
Ah, I can see that.
Yeah. I
I
think
my
it's. Oh, go ahead, please.
You can go. I'm good. Sorry if
Yeah,
I'm
I just think it's
interrupting.
alarmist. I think it's people who didn't like what happened to Joe Biden or didn't like his performance in the debate, and they feel insecure, and so they are desperately calling for him to drop out. Like, I don't care if he drops out, honestly. If he does, he does. Like, if he decides he wants to drop out, whoever they bring up, I'm probably going to support.
Who
So it
would
doesn't
who would
matter
you
a
want?
lot to me. But it just feels to me like there's so many critical elements of this election. There's so many critical policy differences between the two that it's bugging the shit out of me, to be honest. That we have all these Democrats that only want to talk about Joe Biden dropping out. Like Democrats are historically a little whiny. It's who we are.
Yeah, yeah. I see it
I
all over
I
the
have a
news.
thought. Well, let me just say my thought, and then this is my thought because I think if you look at the people who it is, the senator. I'm speaking. I think you're asking about people in office, right? Like
Yeah,
Congress people of that. Yeah, because there's different groups of people who are doing it there, and when we're talking about the Democratic Congress people, these are people who are up for reelection, and normally, right, if you have the incumbent on your team, let's say, and the incumbent is a Democrat and is running for reelection as well, you traditionally get like the incumbent bump, like a little lift, let's say, in the polls because you're on the team with the incumbent president who's running. And that hasn't been the case. As a matter of fact, it's been the opposite with Joe Biden as far as the polls go and what we can believe about them. So I think some people who have been running for reelection have felt, you never hear them mentioning Joe Biden. They're trying to distance themselves as much as possible. But I do think for these people who are in tight races, it's definitely a strategy, right? It's to say, first of all, to get press, Look how much
Yeah.
press the people that are calling for him to leave, right? Like I have a marketing, like advertising background, so that's how I see everything. I mean, just for being the person like Mark Warner, I can't remember who the guy was yesterday I was watching, but yeah, they're getting a ton of press from it, free press that Democrats don't get a lot. And there's an advantage to it, right? Like they're hedging their bets. Like if they call for it, especially if they're in a swing district, they kind of need to call for it. They need to say something they feel. So that's why I think they're doing it. Now the donor class, right? Like Bernie Sanders was talking about this. It was not last night, I think the night before. He was talking to the chick on CNN we love. Jay, what's her name? Kate,
Caitlin Collins.
Caitlin, yeah, Caitlin Collins, and he
Yeah.
was saying like the donor. This is about the people, right? Like when we had the donor class, the millionaires, and billionaires who are donating to the Democratic ticket, weighing in and trying to use the money they're donating to try to force someone out of the race. Like I think that is sort of much more nefarious in a way. But yeah, I don't. I think the people are who matter to me, and I think the people are essentially behind Joe Biden. But I also, again, like Jay, if it's not Joe Biden, that's fine. I'm gonna back the next man up. Like I'm gonna or woman up. I'm gonna back the next candidate. But we can't pretend that when we have one candidate who is a criminal, a pathological liar, and is just economically drove our country into the ground, presided over the third largest deficit increase in history. Like, it is socially irresponsible to pretend like Joe Biden having cognitive decline at 81 is the most dangerous situation we're dealing with.
So, what do you guys think that does to the independent vote, though, as far as the narrative that they're pushing? Because I'm an
I,
independent voter.
yeah, it
So,
depends. I think it
Glad
depends
you're
on
here.
the independent voter. So there are going, and just generally speaking, I'm not saying this is necessarily you, but like as men, we view what Joe Biden is more weak. Like we view somebody stumbling over their sentences or getting lost is weak. And so I think that for those who are truly independent, who are men, who are voting on strength or the appearance of strength, then I think that was devastating for Joe Biden. But for
mm,
people voting on policy, I don't think that really matters that much. Or people voting the independents who are like, hey, we're a little worried about Project 2025, or we don't want to vote for a convicted felon. I think across the board, there are different mindsets from independents. But I do think there's at least some sections of that where if that's important to you, if it's important to you that the president at least appears stronger, then yeah, I would say that Donald Trump appears stronger, even though he's lying and even though he says things that don't make any sense. He like his delivery does sound stronger.
yeah, I mean that makes sense. That makes sense. Who would you guys want if you had to pick if Joe Biden did step down? Who would be your number one option?
I changed my mind on this morning, to be honest. I would have said Pete Buttigieg.
Mm,
I actually think Vice President Harris is the choice. And I think that like we've seen already the stuff that people are going to bring against her. It's going to be her conviction rate, and that. But I don't think that's ultimately going to hurt her. She has experience. She's a woman that matters, especially in an election where we're talking about women's rights to choose what they want with their own body. Like that. That's probably what I think would be the best choice.
and what about you,
Yeah.
Felix?
Yeah. So the thing is this: the only choice is Kamala.
Mm,
And the reason is because the Democratic Party, especially in this election, we need to rely and do rely heavily on the African American vote. I think it says something about our party if we passed over an African American woman who is vice president and
mm.
fully capable of serving the country for, let's say, somebody else who probably would be maybe a white male. You know what I'm saying? So I think Kamala
It,
Harris is the only choice. It is a very bad look if we did, in fact, try to pass over, unless for whatever reason she did not want it.
it's just time we put somebody in office with rhythm. Just whoever it is, they need to be able to dance to music and like find the rhythm at some point.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that.
Oh, and then the dark horse, though, you know who's looking real good? And I think if you guys haven't heard of him, you'll hear more about him. But the governor of Maryland, who's in lockstep with Biden and backing him, Wes Moore, He's a African American young governor, looking very presidential, very Barack Obama-ish. And so, like, I would say Wes Moore is definitely one to watch. I'm a huge Andy Bashir fan, the governor of Kentucky.
Kentucky,
He's
yeah.
the Democratic blueprint for how to run, you know, in a red state and win. And he's shown like how he is the blueprint for how to run despite, you know, people's objections to Biden and win. So those two. But again, Hillary Clinton, isn't it? There were some polls out, right? Like Hillary Clinton is polling very well. I think if she was going up against Trump after what Trump did to her, I again, this is not reality. This is just speaking about people that I've heard people talking about, right? Like Hillary Clinton's not going to run again. But, you know, because of the whole lock her up thing, it would be kind of apropos if Hillary Clinton ran. Like I can't remember, there was some poll and what won was like a Clinton Harris ticket.
Interesting. How do you guys feel about Gavin Newsom?
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah, he's like
Neo-lib.
yeah, he's like Joe Biden 30 years younger with charisma. I mean, he's kind of a model. I don't think that would be our choice as far as policy direction is. And I think there's another problem we have in this country, that there are people just who hate California. They're just no matter what, they just hate California. I don't know. That wouldn't be my first choice, but I would certainly vote for him.
I
Only
think
reason I
he's
say
very
that-
electable. He's very electable, right? He's
Yeah.
running the fifth largest economy, or are they the fourth largest economy? They might have just passed Germany. Like, you know, what Gavin Newsom basically runs the fourth or fifth largest country in the world, like economy. So I mean, he's got the resume, and when it comes to speech and debate skills, like his speech and debate skills are on point. He has like a eidetic memory. He almost has total recall. So I think he's very electable, and on the debate trail, like on the campaign trail, would be very successful.
Interesting. All right. Well, I just had those questions for you. I'll let you guys get back to your show. I appreciate you guys letting me come
I
up here.
followed you. Come back and see us.
awesome.
You're sane and polite. Like we need more of you. Please
Yeah, I
come back.
All righty, guys. Have a good
All
one.
right, we'll see ya.
Bye.
I just see it when I brought up that somebody needed to have rhythm. A lot of people said Obama could dance, and I spent a good deal of the last couple minutes watching videos of Obama dancing. I don't know about that. I don't. I don't know about him being
Oh.
a good dancer.
Actually, let me add my backup. Have you guys ever seen one of the most popular political videos on TikTok of like all time? When Wes Moore, the governor of Maryland, was elected? Have you ever seen the video of Wes Moore? I have to add my backup. We need to show
Maybe.
everyone. If you ever want to get like pumped up, like watch something amazing, like Wes Moore's victory dance. I was like, it will like make you cry. Yeah, and Obama can dance, I think.
Can
he
or
has
can't?
rhythm.
Like,
Can.
yeah, he finds the rhythm, but it's
No, he has rhythm. To say
It
Obama
gives
doesn't
a-
have rhythm is he has rhythm.
he's like the one dad at the daddy-daughter dance that can find rhythm, but those feet
Can
are
you
mostly
dance,
staying
Jay?
still. Yeah, come on. I have rhythm.
You can dance to
Yeah.
hip hop.
Well, I mean, like, I don't think you could choreograph something for me, but I can
Well,
move
not
my body with
choreograph.
the
I
rhythm.
don't mean I'm not. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't mean like choreograph. I mean like at like like at the club. Would you dance? With,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You've heard it here first, people. No, I'm serious. I
It's
didn't
not
know
something I would
that.
stand
I don't
on.
think
I
we've ever
wouldn't-
talked about dancing. I know you can. You have musicality. Like I know that. So that's why I'm asking.
I would look. I think if you can find, like, if you rhythm is internal most of the time. Like most people who are good athletes have good rhythm, right?
Oh,
People
no.
who could, yeah.
You know, there's so
Well, it
many
depends on the.
athletes
I guess
that don't
maybe
have-
depends
yeah.
on maybe depends on the sport. But like if you're playing like I played soccer and I played basketball. Those are two games that like it's all rhythm based, right? And even like changing up your rhythm to give somebody half a step quicker or slower, like that's how you win. Like that's how Luka Doncic wins in basketball, because he has a rhythm nobody else can really replicate. Dance off some of the dance off. I'm not confident in my
Dance
dancing.
off.
If I
I know,
was
but if you're gonna shit on Obama's dancing, you need to be prepared
That's what I'm
to
saying.
dance,
I
is
think-
what I'm saying.
I think Obama and I think maybe I'm either on that level or slightly above. I'm just saying he wasn't like a great dancer. I wouldn't say I'm a confident dancer. 1 million likes, Jay Dancer. I'm not playing your guys' like games anymore. I still got this mustache.
Let me see if I can find a video of Westmore dancing, because it is so, like, you'll fall instantly in love with him.
I mean, I
He's
guess
so charismatic and also so intelligent. I mean, it's not just about his dancing.
I like what Rave Uncle said. I can hold down a wedding reception. In fact, when my sister got married, I found this out recently. Her entire I guess her in-laws, they all hate me because I tried to dance with her grandmother. Well, I did dance with her grandmother, and I was shaking my ass a little bit, and apparently they didn't appreciate that. So I can do the Carlton. Is this how you don't go straight to YouTube, huh? This is interesting. You go Google for the video.
Well, I mean, I don't look up videos, period. I mean, Google pulls YouTube videos. I'm looking
Yeah.
for a TikTok video, but I don't even think I've been on TikTok on this computer. I'm just thinking, like, sorry, I'm just a little out of it today. You might remember that I'm sick.
I was just surprised, yeah.
But it's a TikTok video that I'm thinking of. I just remember it's one of the.
And it's who dancing?
It's the governor of Maryland, Westmore, when he was elected. Oh, whoopsies.
Let's see. I'll see if I can find it. Oh, I got it. You want me to send it to you?
Yeah, sure. That'll work. That'll work.
Let's see.
Why? I can't believe it doesn't come up. Like, see, it doesn't come up on YouTube. Here.
It's a news clip, but they get to it, I think. Show that they got to it.
Yeah, it's not gonna be as good. It's not gonna be as good as the TikTok one.
Turn icy cold
Here,
instantly without AC.
Go to like 58 seconds once the ad's done there.
People still celebrating tonight. It was a huge day, a memorable day. It was Ashley McDowell live at the Baltimore
Party.
Oh yeah, this is a.
The day was about.
Oh wait.
More said looking at.
No, this is not.
That's not all right. Jen, Jen can find it, and then we'll move
I'll
on with
find
the
it
show.
later.
And Jen will. Jen, if you find that, shoot it over to me. I think we. Do you want to start with the bot farm story?
Hold on. Yeah, that's fine. Yes,
Or-
guys. Okay. Yeah, give me one
Or
second.
we have Bullfrog here.
Well,
We can
can
talk
you-
to Bullfrog again.
Did we ever talk to him last time, or did he just keep almost loaded twice, and we never actually spoke to him?
Maybe. I don't remember. Hey,
Well,
Bullfrog.
I do. You have the worst memory of all time, so I'm telling you, I do remember.
Okay.
Like twice
loaded
we
this
tried
time.
to talk to him, and it didn't load.
Is it working now?
We got you.
Yes. Hi.
Hey guys, sorry. I didn't think I was gonna get up this fast. I know you guys get a bunch of guests. I'm sitting here feeding babies.
Cool. We like babies. That's fine.
Cool. That's cool. No, can we have a serious conversation? I mean, do you guys? I mean, I understand what the experts say. I understand what that you guys have seen this stuff. But do y'all really think that Biden's the best option for the Democratic Party right now, considering, not his age, but he's obviously struggling in some areas?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. No, I just feel
I don't think anybody. The thing is I think that Republicans were really hopeful that after this happened, we were all just going to fall apart. But like that's that's how bad Donald Trump is. That's how bad he is. Like we don't care. We will vote for a rock over fascism. We just don't care.
Yeah, no, and I just feel like that's kind of scary. Granted, you guys might be right. I don't know. Maybe he is a crazy fascist.
I feel like fascism is way scarier.
If you were incorrect about him being a fascist and you were talked into this, then of course you'll vote for somebody that can't finish a sentence and is struggling.
He can finish sentences. He does it all the time.
He struggles though, man. Come on.
Not all the time. What are you talking? I just watched him give with no teleprompter. I just watched him give a 20-minute speech, and he was eloquent the whole time.
He spoke to the NATO. He spoke to the NATO conference or whatever yesterday for 20 minutes and was great. Like it gives me the impression that you've only seen clips of him speaking, because that's just not the case.
Okay, well, and I'm just going to use this as an example. Okay, last night there was this huge rally over in Doral, Florida, where Trump was in 108-degree weather. He spoke for almost an hour. Then he
It was
danced.
94 degrees.
Okay, 94. But he danced after the speech was over. Do you guys think Biden could do that?
Could Biden do this?
After
Trump is
doing
the
a speech
literal
in
worst
98-degree
dancer
weather
ever.
for an
That's
hour?
not dancing. He was not dancing. He was
You can call it what
spastically
you want.
moving
He's
around.
it was white tea man moving. Let's just call it that. It wasn't
Looked like there were
dancing.
two
I
guys
agree.
on each side
It's
of him. That's what it
embarrassing.
looks like.
It's funny. He's a character. I get it. But what I'm saying is, could Biden stand in 98-degree weather for 45 minutes to an hour, say his speech, rally crew, and then dance afterwards? Could he do
Yes.
that?
Yes. And
Y'all
let's keep-
really
let's
believe
keep a
that
couple-
man could do that?
Yeah,
Come on.
let's
man.
keep a couple. Yeah, let's keep a couple things in mind. Like one, you don't think there's fans there?
What's that? I'm sorry.
You don't.
Is there-
You don't think there's fans? You don't think they're blowing in colder air too? Right on Donald Trump.
Either way, if they were, they were. I don't think Biden could get through it.
Well, why do you think that? What gives you like he stood the entire debate?
Kinda.
That was longer than that. Not kinda. What do you mean kinda?
He wasn't.
Of
He
course
wasn't
did.
able to complete. He traveled off into weird areas when asked questions. He couldn't stay on track. It was
You said he couldn't stand. We're talking about him being able to stand, right?
in 98-degree weather,
94.
rallying
I don't-
troops,
why do you keep
94
rounding?
degrees.
sweating
Yeah,
your
just keep
balls off.
changing.
Come on.
Okay,
Anyway,
we can't keep
But-
doing this because listen to me. It's very ableist what you're doing. One of our best presidents of all time was FDR, and he could not stand. He had polio.
That's not what
metal
I'm talking
stand.
about.
They had yes, that is exactly
talking
what
about
you're talking about.
cognitive. I'm talking about
please
cognitive.
let me finish. Please let me finish. They had a metal stand they would literally tie him to prop him up so it looked like he was standing. And you came up here talking about dancing. You're being extremely ableist. The last thing that matters on earth are the things you're talking about. Donald Trump ran our economy into the ground, presided over the third largest deficit increase. He is an economic disaster. And you want us to reelect him because he can go like this in 94 degrees. And he wasn't out. What the real crime is that people waited in line, right? I used to live in Miami. If you don't know, humidity is very high there. People waited for hours and hours and hours. He was over an hour late. He was only there for an hour and 30 minutes. He purposely made everyone else wait till the sun went down because he something amazing. He just did enough. And also, I invite everyone. During that, Biden gave a speech to NATO, which was presidential. It was responsible. It was inspiring. It was amazing. And then we had Trump. And we'll go through Trump's speech. I watched the whole thing. I clipped it. That's what I've been doing for the last 4 hours. I watched every second of it. He's a child.
There's absolutely no way that the 60-70% of Americans in this country are going to be convinced, that are already convinced, that the leader of the free world that has control over a lot of stuff obviously has cognitive issues. And you're not going to be able to convince us.
There's nobody saying that.
And
Wait,
I'm
but
not
nobody's
saying vote
that.
for Donald Trump.
Wait, but
what I'm
nobody's saying
saying
that.
is
Hold on,
why
hold on,
can't the
hold on.
Democratic
Hold on,
Party
brother,
find
brother.
somebody that's competent?
Okay, but listen, nobody is saying that Joe Biden hasn't slipped, right? Like
He's more than slipped, dog. He is more than slipped.
Well, then explain to me how he's done such a great job as president.
He has not done a great job as president.
Okay, so of all the countries in the whole world, the entire G7, all the countries that we're
Right.
talking about with an economy similar to ours, we have lowered inflation lower than all of them. We're
Okay.
the only ones that had a positive GDP. He's gone to the G7, he's gone to NATO, and he's led. He convinced people to take money frozen from Russia and use that money to give to Ukraine so that Ukraine can defend itself using Russian money. He's now responsible for a 40% decline in what do they call them? I forget.
Encounters.
Encounters. Thank you. Encounters at the border. Like
So-
he's done a remarkable job. I do not care if he stumbles over his words sometimes. One of my favorite comedians in the world has a speech impediment.
No.
gets
It's not
stuff
a
all the
speech
time.
impediment. It's
It
not
is.
a walking
It is.
issue.
Wait,
It's
he
a
has a
cognitive
stutter.
issue. That's
No,
what I'm
he has
talking
had a
about.
stutter his whole life.
It's not a stuttering issue.
Yes, it is.
No,
brother.
it's
This is
not, man.
Well, this is the problem. You don't understand. A stutter is something.
Okay,
that
so
you
if somebody
not
in this
hold
country
on,
is
let me
making,
explain it. Let me
Right.
explain it to you. A stutter is something that you have to work on.
I
And
understand what a stutter
and as you
is.
get older, and your
Everybody knows what a stutter is.
Well, be quiet then. And your mental acuity diminishes, then that stutter oftentimes will come back. That's a very normal thing.
I'm not talking about a stutter. I'm talking about cognitive decline. I'm not talking about a stutter. I'm not talking
What's
about
the
falling off a
difference?
bike. I'm talking about him having trouble staying on topic. But my
Wait, so
point is,
when he couldn't,
well,
so when he couldn't find
let's
the word,
think about something
no,
right
hold
here.
on, no.
$30 if you're making-
All right, okay, listen. You don't get to shout over other people on their platform. I need to ask you questions about this. So when he couldn't find the word to the end of the sentence, are you saying that that's not a stutter?
No, that's not a stutter. That's him not being able to find the words. That's his
Okay,
mind.
that's what a
in his-
stutter
That's
is.
in his head.
That's
But
what
if
a
you're
stutter
making
is.
this country,
That's
if you're-
what a stutter is.
No, it's not.
Yes,
a
it
stutter
is.
is having trouble with speaking. This guy can't even think of the
Yeah,
words.
getting words out.
His mouth can't. His mind don't even know what the words are.
How do you know
We
that?
don't even know what he's
Wait,
saying.
how do you know what his mind is
These are
thinking?
his feelings.
Because you
These are
can
his
look at it and
feelings.
see it.
You can look at people and figure out what their mind is thinking?
If my grandfather
Well, hold
acted
on,
like
is that
this,
your
I'd
claim?
take him
Wait,
to
Why
hold
do
on,
we
no,
need
hold
MRI
on.
machines?
Yes,
We gotta
then?
go back.
If
We gotta
my-
go back. Are you saying
if my
that you can look
grandfather
at some...
was acting
Oh,
like
all right,
this,
brother, listen, I'm asking you questions. Don't keep talking over me. I'm asking you questions. You don't get to talk over. Are you telling me that you can look at somebody and you can tell what their mind is thinking?
I can look at somebody and know that they need some help and somebody needs to take a look at it.
No, you can't.
So if I see that my
What's your
grandfather's acting like
What's your
this, you're telling-
education? What's
You're
your
telling me that if
medical
I see my
education?
grandfather acting like this, I'm not supposed to go get him help?
No.
He's talking about
Really?
institutionalizing his grandfather. You're not
Yeah.
a medical professional. You,
I didn't say I was a medical
Joe
professional.
Biden
I'm just
hasn't-
saying
Joe
that if
Biden
this,
has
if
seen
I
a
saw
neurologist
somebody that's
3
having
times.
this kind of trouble, I
Joe
would try
Biden
to
has
see.
seen a neurologist 3 times. You are not a medical professional. You're
I
out
don't
here
need to
trying
be.
to die. Yes, but Joe Biden has
No,
a
I don't.
doctor, and in addition, he has a neurologist that he has seen 3 times. We
Okay,
don't
again,
need
we're
to
not-
hear you expressing your
Right.
feelings over
No, it's
and
not
over again.
feelings.
These are your
70% of the
feelings.
Americans agree with me. We're not.
Yeah,
What, do you
that's,
think we're all just making this
those are
up?
also feelings. Those
What
are
do you think
also
we're just
feelings.
making? So you think we're just making this up? The 70% of
No, you're
Americans that see this
expressing
happening
your
on TV,
feelings.
we're
Do
just
you know
making
the
it up.
difference?
Hold on.
You're expressing your
Oh.
feelings.
When you say 70% of Americans, what does that poll say? 70% of Americans what?
Can see that this is happening to Joe Biden. They
No,
can see
that's not what the
cognitive
poll
decline.
says. What does the poll say?
And
70 the poll says,
I've also heard.
Gotcha. I'm muting you. You have to start answering questions. You don't get to just say what you want. You have to answer questions up here.
I am
okay?
answering it.
70. No, you're not. 70%. What does the poll say? Not what do you think. What does the poll say? 70%
What do the
of
poll-
Americans what?
Think that our president, the leader of the free world, has a cognitive decline.
No, that's not what the poll says. You want to try again?
What does the poll say?
Well, why are you citing a poll if you don't know what it says?
Okay, again, there's going to be absolutely no way that we're ever going to agree on this if you guys can't see it.
What's the percentage?
Can't
What's the
see it, it's fine. But
Well,
let's.
no,
what I'm going to
all
ask
right,
you
now
is.
I'm muting you again. You don't get to run this, brother. 70%. I'll read it to you. 70. Shut up, dude. Shut up. 72% of voters do not believe Biden has the mental or cognitive health to serve a full term as president. What is that percentage for Donald Trump? Do you know?
No, what is it?
50%. 50.
So again, 72% of Americans see this.
yeah.
So you think? So you
Yes,
think
and
those
50
72%?
and 50% and 50
So you think the
and
72%?
We'll try this again. And 50% think Donald Trump has the same problem. So we're talking about two candidates who a lot of Americans think are not as sharp as they used to be. And so what do we rely on? Then we rely on policy. You're citing this number as if you're saying these 72% of people won't vote for Joe Biden. That's stupid. You think 72% of the country isn't going to vote for Joe Biden? He's going to win the popular vote. He will have over 50% of the vote. I'll bet my life on that.
Right. So
Not 70%, right?
Those same 72% is just like I was saying. You're talking about policy, and it has affected policy. One of the biggest problems is if you make $40 an hour in this country, you are poor.
Well, that was a hell of a shift there. That was a hell of a shift.
Because of Joe Biden's policies. Because of Joe Biden's policies,
that's
you're
not
a hardworking American
Which ones?
making $40 an
Which
hour.
ones, Bullfrog?
You are
Which
struggling.
Ones? No, we
you are
heard
struggling.
We
and
heard
it's because of Joe Biden's policy.
All right, gotcha. So now I have to mute you because you just keep saying the same thing over and over. What policies, Bullfrog? Let's name them.
The very first thing that he did when he came into office is four of the first things he did when he came into office is he put mandatory vaccinations on federal government employees, and those people lost their jobs that wouldn't do it. That's number one. Number two, he opened the border.
Hold on. No, listen. We go one by one here. We go one by one here. You have one more chance to stop. Yeah, that's what I thought. There's the run. I want to be able to just say what I have to say.
I couldn't tell which was the infant and which was him at one point. You know what I mean? Just so much crying.
Yeah,
like there's polls are but they're not facts. But someone like that 72%, what Jay was saying that you weren't listening to, is that 70, right? It's not it's not an either or. Someone can be part of that 72% and still vote for Joe Biden. Do you understand? Do you understand that? Like, I could think, oh, he might not make it a full term, but I can still vote for him. They're not mutually exclusive, is the point.
What's up, Zaddy?
Hey, what's up, Felice? Hey, Jay. How's your liberal
Zaddy?
Canadian girlfriend doing?
What?
Jay, I was just picking on you. Remember we used to joke about your Canadian liberal girlfriend?
Oh yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Okay. So
she turned out to be not very real.
So hey, my opposition to you today. This is a family fight, okay? If the choices are Joe Biden and Donald Trump, it's not a choice, right? We're voting for Joe Biden, okay? Clearly, okay. So let's just start with that. So we don't have any issues on policy and everything, but think about this. Do you not think that if Joe Biden stepped down and we have an open convention and Gretchen Whitmer comes and Newsom comes and we hear the cases that they make and Joe Biden gets his chance to make his case as well. We're not excluding him from this. And then we get a chance to make a decision. Now, well, I think he should step down so that it is an open convention. And I think that the history books would look back on Joe Biden as an American hero, okay? Because he came in at a time when the country needed him to step up, come out of retirement, and do what he did and fulfill the promises that he made, the CHIPS Act, creating the Inflation Reduction Act, all the things that we agree and know were good for this country.
Historically, you're saying historically, if the incumbent does not run, we lose. Okay, so I'm just telling you, those are
that may be true.
And I'm not saying, I think that we're in a unique situation. I think we're in an unprecedented situation, but historically, those are the facts, right? The incumbent does not run and we lose, period.
Sure. Can I just finish my playing this out, and then I'd want to hear what you have to say. Okay, I genuinely want to hear your reactions, but I think 50, 100, 200 years, the history books write about Joe Biden. If he steps down and we are able, there's 4 months, that's a lifetime in American politics, okay? So we've got 4 months to the election. The history books would, and he decides, I'm not going to do this. The history books look back at him and say, this man put his ego to the side. He knew that the direction of the country was more important than him going down in history as a 2-term president. And that by him stepping down, and I believe if Newsom runs, if Whitmer runs, if any of these other Democrats runs, they pull off a Reagan-sized landslide.
Okay, well,
Okay?
can I give
It
you?
is
Let
going
me
to
give
be
you some
said that.
context.
You
then.
said that
We nip and
before.
tuck
Yeah,
with the
You said
octogenarian
that
guy.
Zaddy,
before.
Zaddy,
That's
Zaddy.
the
With all
second time
due
we
with all
repeated
due
the same
respect, brother, you are taking up all the oxygen in the room. Can you let us respond at at some
Well,
point?
I just wanted to make
Okay,
my case, and then I want to
we
hear what you
we
have
got
to
the case.
say.
Got it.
Made it twice.
Look, there's two things to recognize. Did you know what's the biggest landslide victory in electoral college history? Do you know?
I mean, just off the top of my head, I think it's got to be Reagan.
It's Reagan. And did you
Right.
know that 60% of the country at the time during his first term, 60% of the country thought he was mentally unfit to be president? There was polling on that. Remember,
Sure, yeah, I
people
mean,
were
I don't
saying he had to
disagree.
and then he pulled off the biggest electoral college victory in the history of our country.
Okay.
Right.
I'm
So
not-
there is
okay.
precedent. So now let me, no. Now you got to be quiet for a while because you said a lot of things. So I have to address a lot of things. But secondly, the way that this works is these are Joe Biden's delegates. He earned them. He won them. All of these people could have primaried Joe Biden if they wanted to, and they didn't. And they didn't because they said to themselves, we're going to let the incumbent stay. That's why none of these people are racing to get into the race now. The truth of the matter is this decision is Joe Biden's. That's how it works. And we have two options. We can sit here and talk about this forever and be demoralized and talk only about Joe Biden and should he step down or not, or we could talk about the real fucking issues that are facing our country. So if Joe Biden stepped down, maybe he'd be remembered as a hero. But what if he steps down and we lose? What if he steps down and it causes a massive unraveling and we lose? And then suddenly history will remember Joe Biden as the one person we know for sure can beat Trump because he's done it. And he stepped aside due to pressure, and then we lose. And then
But what
we
if he
get two
keeps
more
making
supreme.
these
And I'm not
gaffes
done.
and
I'm not
Trump
done.
wins?
I'm not done. I'm not done.
Hey, come on.
Excuse, with all due
Stop
respect, hey,
interrupting.
Zaddy, with all due respect, you just did this to Felice. You cut her off and did this exact thing. So with all due respect, like you don't get to now cut in and think this is your time.
You haven't had your mute button on. I haven't said anything. I've let you go.
You still cut off Felice. You did this, and you complained
I
that
asked to
Felice
finish
didn't let
my
you
point.
finish.
I just
well,
asked
and
to
I'm
finish
trying to
my
finish
point.
mine.
You
I'm
made
trying
the
to finish
same
mine,
point
Zaddy.
twice. You never
I'm trying
made
to
a
finish
different
mine.
point. You literally
And I'm
repeated
listening
the
to
same
you.
thing you'd already
Okay,
said.
well then listen with your ears, not your mouth, right? I mean, I'm just telling you, like, you don't know the future. You have no idea.
You don't either, Jay.
Exactly. So this is what I'm saying. So our job is to talk
So
about
I
the
say we got a
fucking
better
issues.
chance with a
All right, be
40-year-old than
quiet.
we do with an
Be quiet when
81-year-old.
I'm talking, please. Our job is to focus on the issues. I don't want to spend the next 4 months talking about the same goddamn thing every day about
Yeah,
a
well,
bunch
if
of
we have a
people
candidate
who
that's not
aren't
making-
doctors talking about the decline of Joe Biden. If you want to do that, go ahead. I'm not interested in that conversation for the next 4
the
months.
love of
I'd like to
God.
talk about what the future of
Dude,
our
this is
country looks like,
reality. You
and the
gotta deal
future
with
of our
Women's bodily
country
autonomy.
the future of
You
our
are-
country
you are
looks much
in
scarier
La La
with Donald
Land.
Trump. All right, Zaddy, listen, brother. With all due respect, I gave you more time than I give anybody, and you can't shut up long enough to let me finish what I have to say. So you can bounce. Yeah. I mean, how disrespectful are you to show up on somebody else's platform, demand all this attention, and then cut them off?
Are you going to
You
let me
you
respond
wanted
to you?
our
Are you-
opinion. We
No,
didn't come to you for
no.
yours. So wait for the opinion.
Oh,
Okay, so
yeah, and I was
is there ever going to be a turn for me to respond to what you're saying?
I had to get through the 5 minutes of
You
everything
talked the
you
whole
said,
time.
I have
dude.
not been on here for 5
You're
minutes.
still
Jay.
talking. You're still talking. The point is precedent says, right? That's how we got Reagan, just so you know. Reagan, a man who was elected in an electoral college landslide and had Alzheimer's. You're talking about cognitive decline and people can't be elected with cognitive decline. He was elected to a second term with Alzheimer's.
And how did that go
And people
for
were,
us?
and listen to
And
me.
how did that go? How did
That's
that turn
different.
out,
Hey,
Felice?
conservative policy doesn't have to do with cognitive decline. He didn't write the Republican platform. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, I do.
You don't
I grew
no,
up
you
in
don't. Ronald Reagan was an
in a house
actor. Ronald
with a government
Stop
and history
speaking while
professor
I'm speaking. Will you
in the
please
eight-
mute him? Because I don't know how. Anyways, you are woefully misinformed. That's the truth of the matter. You don't understand history and you just interrupt and you're frantically yelling. You sound panicked. These are the facts. We have elected someone with Alzheimer's who won an electoral college landslide because our incumbent decided not to run because
I am
he
in a
thought
panic,
people didn't
Felice,
want him.
because I'm afraid Donald Trump is
I
gonna
am
get
talking.
reelected.
Again, I am talking. Believe me, and as a woman whose bodily autonomy is in question, this is what you don't understand. The issue is not Donald Trump is an issue. He's a criminal, right? But the Republican platform is the issue. The Republican platform doesn't go away if Trump goes away. Project 2025 doesn't go away. Everyone, we do need to get rid of Trump. I 100% agree. He's a literal criminal who wants to use the office to enrich himself, and that is a problem. But you as a white male, you seem to think if Trump goes away, your problems go away. None of our problems go away. Conservatives are still going to do it. Their plan goes forward. So what you need to recognize is if you're going to talk about history, right? History says that Joe Biden should probably stay in office. But again, this is an unprecedented situation. And if you so desperately don't want Trump to win, going around screaming this, you are not helping. You are not helping the Democratic Party frantically going on live screaming this. As a matter of fact, you're doing the opposite.
Is it my turn to speak now?
Yeah, see how that worked? Once
Okay,
we
great.
finished,
Yeah,
it was just your
I
turn.
sat patiently, and yeah, I'm
There you go.
happy to do that.
You
And now I would
did
like to
great.
speak. I
Go
would
ahead.
like to speak to the fact that you're telling me as a white man that the issue of abortion does not affect me. You're telling me, is that what you're telling me?
Not in the
Because
same way. Not in the same way, right?
I was married and and we had a pregnancy that at 7 months
He's really
along, we
doing
found
this.
out
He's
that the-
really doing
wait,
this.
It's my turn to talk.
People
Now
with
you-
uteruses
wait,
in
who-
here. He's really doing this right now.
So we're not doing a give and take, right? So when I talk, it's okay to interrupt, but if I interrupt you, I'm
Brother.
the bad guy.
Yeah, because this isn't a platform
Well,
for
I'm trying
everybody
to tell you
have.
why I understand that it is more important than me.
Zaddy.
This
Zaddy,
isn't
hold
a
on.
therapy
Jesus
session.
Christ,
Hold on.
you
for
guys
you.
are you're incapable of listening.
I'm
to other
trying
people.
really
You
hard
wanna
here for
interrupt
you,
when
bud.
they talk, but you
I'm
don't
trying
want to be
really
interrupted
hard.
when you talk.
Brother, I'm trying really hard here with you, to be honest.
I'm trying really
just
hard with you
and
too,
I'm
guys,
just
because
telling
we
you, I'm
agree on
all right,
agree on
gotcha.
all of
So,
the issues. But you
gotcha.
you-
Except for, brother, you are trying when you make the statement that you are not as that you're affected by the right to bodily autonomy, the women's right to choose their own choices. Like, it's not saying that like men aren't affected by that, but not in the same way.
I understand that. I
That's
never
all we're
said.
saying. Okay, well, that's what she was saying. So could you try your best to
Okay,
take
but
things
can
in the
I-
way
can
they're
I convey
intended?
how I can understand that, because I've actually had to have a pregnancy terminated at 8.5 months along and held
don't
the
have a
baby
uterus.
Someone
in
else
my
did.
You
arms.
do not have a uterus.
Someone else
You
did,
do
right?
not have a uterus.
My wife,
Great.
my wife. Okay, it is not my body, but I lived.
Exactly.
every
Yes, it
fucking
is not
second
your
of it.
body. Women's bodily autonomy is something men seem very
And she
confused
made the
about.
choice
You did not
ultimately
have
on what we
a
did.
pregnancy terminated,
She
sir.
ultimately made the final decision on the course of action.
Yes, your
because it
wife
was
did,
her body.
not you. Not
Exactly,
you.
Felice,
You
I
said
agree with
I
you.
had to have a pregnancy terminated. It is your wife's body, not yours.
I understand that. That's why I just said she was the one. I gave my input. We agreed with the final decision, but she was the one who ultimately made the decision, because had she carried the baby to term and not had it, she could have gotten septic and potentially died herself. So she had to make the decision for herself. It was her body. Why are we talking about this? This is a completely different issue than what we were talking.
We're talking
You
about it
started
because
talking about it.
we're
Okay,
talking
but
about
you're-
it because
you're
let me
acting as if it
help. Let me
doesn't
help. Let me
affect
help. Let me
men.
help.
It does
Please,
affect men, and
Zaddy,
we
don't
are-
Zaddy,
we
don't Zaddy, do not ask questions if you don't want answers. Okay. Don't ask. Don't
I
say
could say the
why are
same
we
thing to
talking about?
you.
And that no, you couldn't, because every time I've asked you a question, I've let you respond. Every single
I
time.
beg to
So if you
differ.
ask the question, the point here is simply that like this impacts women more than it impacts men. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, so what we're trying to tell you is we don't want to talk about Joe Biden for the next 4 fucking months when women's right to their own bodies is at risk.
Does Gretchen
I'm not
Whitmire
telling you
not
that
have
you
the
don't
same
have
policies?
valid
Does Gavin
criticisms.
Newsom not
Well,
have the same
hold on,
policies?
brother.
Are
Hold
there
on,
not-
hold
are
on,
there not-
hold on. We're not telling you that your criticisms about Joe Biden aren't correct. We're not telling you that that maybe there wouldn't be a better option. We're not saying that. We're saying there's things that are more important than that, and we're tired of Democrats focusing on this one issue that we have no control over. None. You know what we have control over? Keeping Donald Trump out of office. We have no say on whether or not Joe Biden decides to step down. And yet it's all we want to talk about. That's what we're saying. There's real fucking issues at play. I'm tired of talking about Joe Biden. If he steps down, I'll support the next guy. If he doesn't, I'll support him or woman, excuse me. I will support whoever they put up. And if Joe Biden is in a coma on election day, I will vote for Joe Biden because guess what?
too.
I know who's okay. Then let's talk about that's all I'm saying. We just don't want to keep talking about Joe Biden every single day. We want to talk about issues. That's what we're trying to relay to you. And you keep wanting to talk about Joe Biden. We don't want
because
to.
we agree on the issues, but who is the best advocate? Who is the best
Can I say
person
something?
to be out there advocating the ideas of the left progressive Democrats?
He
He
just
is
keeps
not
repeating
the
the same
best
thing.
defender of our ideas, guys. Come on.
I need to say
You can't
something.
look at yourself in
I
the
can't
mirror
take it
and
anymore.
actually
You
think
just
that
repeat the
that
same
guy
thing over and
is
over,
the
sir.
best
It's-
representation of the
He just
Democratic
repeats
Party.
the
Nobody's
same thing.
saying
This
that,
is now
dude.
the seventh. We
Nobody's saying
literally,
that.
we literally
Okay.
didn't. No one said that. Okay, yeah. I just need to say something. You didn't listen to anything Jay said, right? You're just listening to wait for your turn to speak. You need to actually receive the information that people are saying. No
Please,
one
I
said
said I was gonna
that-
vote for Joe
Please
Biden.
stop interrupting me. Please stop. This is
interrupted
what
me a
you're
whole
not
bunch
get-
of times.
Please stop talking. So this is the point. Just control yourself. This is the point.
Bye.
What you're not. Yeah, I can't. He's the worst. Like, if this man cared about his wife and what she went through and women's bodily autonomy, he would never be up here doing this. Because what Jay said is absolutely correct. The bottom line is none of us, right, have any control over who that candidate is, right? And if you spend the next 4 months crying and whining that Joe Biden is the candidate, you are working against women's bodily autonomy. That's what you're doing. You are going to spend 4 months putting us in danger. That's what you're doing. So we don't have control of it. So it doesn't matter, right? We need to support whatever candidate it is. Control the controllable. Do we have control? You are literally carrying water for MAGA. That's what you've become. You are doing the work of the opposition for them. Congratulations.
If you don't believe that, I'm sure you didn't see my TikTok, but I'm 100% sure you saw the clip of whatever the senator from Kansas is saying. The Democrats have like a circular firing squad.
I
At Biden.
told you that.
Yeah,
I
that's
told
what
you
I'm
the
saying.
circular firing squad thing.
Yeah.
I read it in an article and I told you that.
No, I'm telling you, I
Jay-
said you already know this. You just didn't see my TikTok. That's all I was saying. I was trying to say that I didn't bring up. But like they're sitting back. You mentioned yesterday that Donald Trump was doing the right thing by taking 10 days off and just letting us beat on each other. Do you not recognize that the Republicans aren't saying anything right now? They're just sitting back watching this happen, and you guys are, and you just keep going with it. This is exactly their plan. Now we got the Parkinson's shit. We're recycling Parkinson's debates that we already did with Hillary Clinton. We're doing that shit again. Like, for the love of God, Democrats, toughen the fuck up. I'm so tired of people saying like Joe Biden's a centrist, I'll never vote for him. Or Joe Biden doesn't agree with me on this, I'll never vote for him. And then you ignore all the myriad of issues that will be completely obliterated if Donald Trump steps back into office. We are the softest voting bloc. We are so frail. We have to toughen up. You will never get a perfect candidate. And there will be some elections where the candidate more closely aligns with your views than others. But our role as citizens is to vote for the best possible candidate that we can. You don't have an option to vote for Gavin Newsom. You don't have an option to vote for Gretchen Whitmer. You have an option to vote for Joe Biden or Donald Trump. And until that changes, there's no use in talking about it all day long. We have to focus on the issues. That's who we are. We do this every day. Like, we're not the party that just worships the leader. We're not the party that does everything the leader says. Like, we can disagree with our leader. I disagree. I think that Joe Biden, looking back, like, he could have stepped aside, but he needed to do it a lot earlier. Who cares? He didn't. This is what we have now. So what do you want? You want to have a pity party about your feelings because Joe Biden looked weak on stage, and then you're just going to continue this? We're not going to focus on any of the issues? Or we can rally people around the idea that Joe Biden's administration is incredible. This has been an unbelievable administration. Give the credit to Joe Biden, give it to whoever you want. I don't care. The results are there. And now we're saying we're going to ignore the results, and we don't want to keep this progress going because Joe Biden had a bad night on the debate stage. I mean, that's so soft. We got to toughen up.
Yeah, like, we debate all day long, and in debates, Joe Biden's record stands on itself. The data stands on for itself. He is a better president than Donald Trump was. The data is there, period.
Nostris, you're not loading on our side. If you want to jump back in the box and try again.
I could see him.
Yeah, it's doing this weird
I
thing
fa-
where, like, did it show it wasn't doing the circling thing, like the two dots? It just showed there.
Oh no, I didn't see that.
Okay. Yeah.
I thought I could see him, but I mean, it doesn't load for you. I don't think. Yeah, I think it doesn't work anyway. So I don't think there's any point. I found the Westmore video though.
Sweet. I'd use your
By the
backup
way.
in the request. There we go. Patrick and JWPINU, we see you.
Could you mute me?
While we're waiting, I just see JWPINU. I don't have any idea how to say that. Just if you're opposition, great. Just say opposition in the comments, and if not, would you just mind dropping out of the box? Okay, remind us what this was. I think your mic's muted, please.
Oh, sorry. This is we were talking about other, this morning prior to Zaddy coming on and expressing his feelings. We were talking about just people we thought with the independent who came up prior, user. We were talking about candidates that we just liked for president outside of Joe Biden. And I brought up Maryland Governor Wes Moore, who is in lockstep and very much supporting Biden. And then we got to talking about, you said Obama can't dance or something. And then I said, I was bringing up Wes Moore, and I was just like, have you seen the video of Wes Moore? Wait, hold on one second. I think. Oh wait, this is the one. Hold on, this is not the one I'm talking about. This is this one is recent with Joe Biden, but
We need to find a different one.
here. Oh, I sent it to myself. I have it here. Oh, here it is. Sorry, I got it this time. Promise. I love Wes Moore. If you don't know Wes Moore, he should run for president. This is the governor of Maryland. This is his victory speech when he won governor.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
anyways.
That's
I told you,
amazing.
Westmore is the future
right.
of the Democratic Party. And he's, I mean, as amazing as he is of a dancer, he's intelligent, he's well spoken. Like he is one of my, I'm a big Andy Bashir
Hello?
fan as well, but love Westmore.
Hey, what's up?
I didn't.
I don't know why you didn't. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. How's it going?
Good. We may have an echo. Yeah, we got an echo with you.
Oh,
How
dude,
is
maybe
that
let me.
happening? Is that your mic? That sounds.
How about now?
No.
Still echo? Oh yeah, I'm off. I'm even off of Bluetooth. I don't know.
Is
No,
it echoing for you? Oh, okay.
not for not for me.
Swipe out of the app and then back in.
Okay.
Oh, interesting. Someone
Someone
said
said if you
it's
turn the camera on, it goes away.
maybe. We'll see when he comes back. It's been a weird day already. There goes no stress. Are they back? There we go. Let's try this. All right.
How's that?
I think it's good.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
good.
think it's good.
So you finally said something we agree on.
Hot damn. What did I say? I never remember.
You guys are pretty much eating yourselves alive right now. The right doesn't need to say anything anymore. We just got to sit back and be quiet and watch you guys eat yourselves alive.
Cool.
So pretty much that's it. I think the debates are over with everyone. If you're still supporting Biden, you're saying that you would support Biden if he was in a coma.
Yeah.
That tells me that you care more about your Trump derangement syndrome than you do about your own country.
No, it tells me what it should tell you is that I know more about Trump than probably you do, and that his agenda is so terrifying that I would rather have somebody who can't speak than Donald Trump.
Well, if a terrifying agenda makes our country great, then go for it.
Well, it won't.
Well, it did.
No, it didn't.
Most people agree.
No, that's also untrue. Just most of the people you talk to agree. By what measure were we great under Donald Trump?
In everything.
No, just pick one.
World peace, economy, borders.
World peace? What do you mean world peace?
There was everyone respected him. All the leaders respected him, and we weren't.
It's incorrect. They laughed him off the stage. They mocked him openly.
Who did?
Everybody at NATO.
The people on the left. We don't need NATO anymor, by the way.
Oh,
Not the people on the left. Leaders of other countries. Leaders of other countries. We're talking about.
I could agree with you.
This is why I'm not too worried about you guys. It's like, you think we don't need NATO anymore?
At this point, I could just agree with you on everything, and it doesn't matter.
Tap the screen, guys.
I don't think you understand. I don't think you understand what's happening here, sir.
You're brainwashed. I know exactly what's happening. You're listening to MSN.
I don't think that's the case, because like I can cite policies. I know exactly why I don't like Donald Trump. You have no idea what you're talking about. You just said we don't need NATO anymore. Why don't we need NATO anymore? Why don't we need NATO?
What do we need them for?
Why don't we? I'm asking you that. You made that claim, so now I'm asking you what you mean by that.
It might help military wise to have what do you call it, bases, or to be stationed there. That's it, but nothing else.
We don't have to have NATO to be stationed places, my friend.
Station where we have forward military bases.
All we're doing is giving money away to NATO. That's all we're doing.
Does NATO pay?
How much money do they give us? How much money does NATO give us?
Well, nobody gives anybody anything. It's a pool. We all collectively put money into a pool. Do you know how that?
No,
hold on,
he
brother.
says he knows. Let him tell us.
Yeah. How do we get the money?
How do we get our money?
No. How does NATO get the money that they pool together? How do they decide how much each country gives?
Various ways, right?
No. But could you think of one way?
No, enlighten me.
No, you couldn't. It's your GDP. It's a percentage of GDP.
I know. So now tell us.
No, what I'm saying is it really doesn't matter what kind of talking points you want to bring up.
These aren't. No. You don't get to pivot away from this. Sorry, pal. No, it's based on percentage of GDP. Now, we do give more money than most other countries because our GDP is bigger and because we have a massive population. And that makes sense. If we have 350 million and another country has 7 million, it makes sense that we would pay more, right? Because we have more citizens. We're protecting more people. We're protecting more land, right? We are bigger. So it makes sense that we would pay more, but it's as a percentage of your GDP.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. You got. You know what? You got me. I was wrong about NATO.
Thank
I
you.
apologize.
So we shouldn't get rid of NATO?
No, let's keep NATO.
Okay, well, Donald
you
Trump
for
wants to get rid of
saying
NATO.
that.
So I guess, should you vote for Joe Biden now?
No, we still vote for Trump.
I followed
Oh.
you.
I thought you wanted NATO.
I really don't care. I want USA.
Oh, so you were lying earlier and said, okay,
I'm
got
worried-
it.
I'm
All right, so
worried
what are
about
the
us.
policies that Trump, we can go back then to your other claim. You said Donald Trump made America great. By what measure?
In almost every measure.
I know, but just pick one. You keep saying that.
I picked 3 earlier.
No, you didn't. You said you said wars around the world, which isn't making America great, because I'm speaking about our country. Unless you think that Joe Biden caused the war in Ukraine or Joe Biden caused the conflict in Israel. Do you think that?
I know Trump said he'd end it right away.
But that wasn't the question I asked, obviously, right? Do you think that Joe Biden caused that?
I don't know who started it.
Yeah. Well, you know who caused the one? Do you know who caused the problem in Ukraine?
Well, everyone's saying. I know you're going to say what, Russia, right?
Yeah. And the reason I'm saying that is not because of ideology. It's because they invaded Ukraine. They showed up in a country they don't belong in and started blasting. That's the only reason I blame them, just because, like, it's their fault.
And what was Ukraine doing? Why did they do that?
Ukraine was existing.
So they did nothing, and all of a sudden they just came over and said.
Do you think they did anything that warranted an invasion?
I would think so. I don't know, but I would think so.
You don't know.
Yeah,
You don't know, but you just think so.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, cool. Well, they didn't.
Okay. Well,
What could possibly give Russia the right to invade a sovereign country?
He didn't want to be surrounded pretty much by NATO. Is what it's the same way we would.
Well, Ukraine's not in NATO, so
If we were
what are you
getting
talking
surrounded
about?
if we were getting surrounded
Wait,
by
but
China,
Ukraine's
we would
not
do the
in
same
NATO.
thing.
Wait, but Ukraine's not in NATO, so why didn't he invade a NATO country?
Well, aren't they trying to be part of NATO, or isn't NATO trying to have them become part of NATO?
Ukraine has asked to be part of NATO. We've kind of had this long-standing agreement that, like an unspoken agreement, that we weren't going to bring NATO in, just because Vladimir Putin's a whiny little bitch and didn't want it to happen, and so we largely haven't. But yeah, the NATO allies, the reason they're there is to keep Russia in check. Because I don't know how much you know about history, but historically, Russia doesn't stay in their own country. They like to venture into other countries and try and take them over. So these NATO allies that they don't like being surrounded by, the reason they don't like being surrounded by those NATO allies is because those NATO allies and us keep Russia from invading countries and taking them over. So yeah, Vladimir Putin's annoyed by that, but I would argue that's a good thing to not let Russia just take over other countries. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay. So Donald Trump says we're going to pull out of NATO, which is a massive win for Vladimir Putin. But again, you're going to vote for him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why? And it was because he made America great, and we can go back to that. Is there anything he did inside of America that made us great?
It's just too funny. Like, I literally don't even have to say anything.
It just would be cool if you answered questions, but it seems like you maybe don't know. It seems like you heard us talking about, like, Democrats turning on each other, and then you're like, yay, finally, I have a point, but you didn't have anything to do with that. You're on the outside. We do. Felice and I do. There's a large audience here. We can impact people. And guess what? I think that the Democrats will recover from this. I think they'll stop. I think some will remain loud, but it's moronic to do what they're doing. But have you ever thought about just trying to figure out why you like Donald Trump?
Yeah, I've done a lot of research.
Yeah, why do you like him?
I'm not going to talk about it here because
of course not.
Because the facts aren't
Why
on your
would you?
side. Whatever topic you bring up, we can factually break it down. We can use data and we can break it down. The Democrats may argue, but facts and data are on our side. So choose a topic, any topic.
The problem is that you guys take what you hear and then just run with it and call it fact.
Brother, that's you.
Okay.
We don't. We actually do the opposite. We fact check what we hear. You are literally just repeating things that that's all you've done since you got up here is repeat things
like
that
the
you've
fact
heard,
checker.
because I keep asking you questions and you don't have answers to them.
I don't need it because I don't need to. We don't need to do
Well,
anything. The debate's
you don't.
over. It's done.
Well, it is for you, but I
Well,
mean,
you
that's
don't know this either,
moronic.
but Trump had a rally last night at Doral, and he challenged Biden to a debate yesterday.
No, I'm saying the debate between us, the average American right versus the average American left. It's done. There's nothing to
Yeah,
talk
you're
about.
getting toasted right now, brother. You're getting like, what are you talking about? If
You
we're
guys-
talking about mismatches, like you're Joe Biden, but you're asleep. Like you're getting dusted, dude.
You and Parker and what's the other guy?
Also, he's also smarter
Harry?
than you.
Harry?
Parker would also dust you in a debate. Who else?
Harry. The
Oh,
guy
he
Harry?
would torch you in a debate. Harry's on. Harry, I just saw was on Piers Morgan making Dave Rubin just like freeze. Dave Rubin couldn't even say, he dusted Piers Morgan. Harry
Dave
went
Rubin's an
3v1
embarrassment.
yesterday on national news and torched every Republican. Are you out of your goddamn mind? Harry would trounce you.
Okay.
Okay. Well, Harry knows things. You don't know anything.
Oh, sure.
Well, tell me something you know then, because I keep asking you for examples.
I know that you guys are. It's over. You guys are falling apart.
We've
There's
heard
no
you
more
say that
debate.
already. Why is it over?
I would just watch for like 5 or 10 minutes.
Why is it over though?
Because you were supporting. You were gung ho about supporting Biden, and he.
No, I've never been gung ho about supporting Biden.
Excuse me.
Excuse you. Yeah.
You're not a Biden supporter.
No, gung ho means like you're enthusiastically supporting them. That's never who I've been about Joe
Excuse me
Biden.
for using that. You were in full support
Okay.
of Joe Biden.
I will vote for Joe Biden. There's a difference. See, the thing is, we don't operate like a cult. Like, we don't have to love Joe Biden. We don't even have to like Joe Biden. I'm going to vote for Joe Biden. There are things I disagree with that Joe Biden does. I don't like that he funded Israel. I think he's been so on unions. But in both cases, he's a better option than Donald Trump.
He's not faking union rallies, giving people signs to hold at non-union shops.
So you didn't have previous lives and didn't post previous videos, like pretty much supporting, saying how great Biden is.
No.
No.
No. Are you familiar with our content? Is this your first time?
No, I've been on your live maybe like 1 or 2 times in the.
All right. Well, I don't think in any of those 2 times did we sing the praises of Joe Biden. We've criticized him when we felt it was necessary, and we've praised him when we felt he deserved it. Just like we do with anybody. We're just calling balls and strikes out here, dude.
It just seems like your hate for Trump is greater than your love for your country.
I don't give a shit about Donald Trump. I hate what he stands for. I hate the things that he says. I hate his agenda. I hate that he's surrounded by fascists and is promoting a fascist agenda, and you guys are so in love with him that you're just blind to it.
No.
Yeah, no, it is. Like, do you know what fascism is?
Yeah,
of
man.
course not.
What is it?
Like when we try to have an opinion and then you try to censor us and if we disagree with you, then
That's
get
not
out.
fat. That's not. So no. Just say no next time somebody says, "Do you know what fascism is?"
No,
just say no.
He's describing a tenet. Like, part of fascism and authoritarianism is believing that you are the aggrieved party in every situation. Like,
in other words,
you are literally what?
No, yeah, I'm agreeing with you that that's kind of the definition, and I'm just saying that that's what.
No,
you
that's
do.
not the definition. There's 14 points of fascism. You have no, like, sir,
What are
with
they?
all due respect, you are a low information voter. You quite honestly have no idea what you're talking about. You just like Donald Trump. You should just say, I am a Trumplican. I like this guy.
But didn't I say
Because you
part
don't
of,
know anything
didn't
about
I say
politics.
didn't I say part of fascism is what I explained?
So let's go over these 14
No, you didn't,
tenets.
sir.
Go over
You
it.
didn't, sir.
Let's just do this then, Nostris. Instead of arguing whether or not we know what it means, let's go over the 14 tenets, and you just tell me who this sounds like. So, tenet 1: powerful and continuing nationalism. Things like patriotic mottos, slogans, symbols, songs, flags, talking about nationalism. Do you think that fits with MAGA, or is that more of a Democrat thing?
So patriotism. So patriotism.
No. Powerful and continuing nationalism. That would include things like patriotic mottos, slogans, symbols, songs, flags. Again, these
Okay, that's
one
fine.
thing you need to recognize is these by themselves do not make something fascist, right? It's that if you have, I think it's supposed to be like if there's 8 or more, basically every fascist movement has fallen. So we agree that's Republicans,
Doesn't
right?
matter what 8 or any 8.
in any eight, historically. All right, disregard for human rights.
Okay.
Okay, so if we talk about a disregard for human rights, I think I could make a very good argument that the way that we have treated trans people, the way that we're currently treating women's bodily autonomy, and comments like we should just shoot them and unalive them regarding immigrants, I think that's a disregard for human rights. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, if that was, but I would say you're cherry picking on that. But yeah, go ahead.
Well,
Like,
sure. I mean, all of it. We're going to have to cherry pick on all of this. Identification of enemies as a unifying cause.
Identification of enemies as a unifying cause.
Trump's
Okay.
running on retribution. It's the idea that you need to identify and go after your enemies. It's part of his platform. I would say it's the only part that he can effectively speak to.
He said we need to go after, and like in what way?
If I can put you on exact quotes, or do you want us to just?
No, just
You're
kind of like
kidding, right?
you said.
You're
Trump,
kidding, right?
No, I'm asking you.
Well,
you said
think about lock her up. Think about the chance of lock her up for Hillary Biden.
Okay.
Or Hillary Biden, sorry, Hillary Clinton. Yeah, we're talking about like we have to eliminate this perceived common enemy. That's why every time you watch
Wait, hold on. Didn't you just do that? You just
No.
did that about. You said you want to spend the next
No.
the next 4 months talking about how we can take Trump down. That's your only interest.
No, not take him down. He's not in power. I want to keep him out of power.
This is
But,
hilarious.
but wait, hold on. Again, some of the stuff that we say can fall into these as well.
Wait,
Right?
let me
We
say
understand
something.
that.
So we're
I
both
think
bad.
Trump
So we're
is a
both bad.
criminal, but that is separate from the danger of the conservative platform, right? Even if Trump goes away and he's not reelected, women with bodily autonomy, minority groups are still in danger from the conservative policy platform. It's insert warm-bodied Republican with a heartbeat in the White House. And there's a problem. So no, even if Trump goes away, right, you are in a cult of personality. The issue is the conservative platform, and that remains.
Sure.
So, and just remember that some of these things you may have an argument that like on our side we do that too. I disagree with it there, but even in times that we agree, being looped into one of these categories doesn't make you fascist. But we're 3 for 3 so far. All right, number 4 is supremacy of the military. I think that's clear, right?
Supremacy of the military.
Yeah, so that would be like that a disproportionate amount of money government funding goes to the military, and that you glamorize soldiers and military service.
I guess we would have to classify what disproportionate is.
Well, I mean, the military budget's one of the biggest things we spend on.
And they're
Right.
running, the Republican platform just came out, and they want to make the military larger and dedicate more of our tax dollars to it.
Okay, next, widespread sexism. This is things like pushing traditional gender roles, a party that maybe is mostly male dominated, divorce, abortion, homosexuality, or suppressed.
Okay.
That's pretty MAGA, right?
I'm sure.
All right, controlled mass media, and this is one where we're going to have some disagreements, so we'll have to stick through this. But,
yeah, I'd be careful there, man.
yeah, well, which candidate in the United States, any candidate in the history of this country, has there ever been a candidate that owned a media company where they censored information?
I'm not. I wouldn't know.
Trump.
I
It's
don't
called
know.
Truth. It's called Truth Social.
Okay.
And Trump actually takes articles written by other people, and before they can be posted on Truth Social, they edit out the parts that he doesn't like.
Sure.
Book burning would be an example of that.
Oh.
Constant attacks on the media.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So that's 6 for 6. Obsession with national security. We can just agree on that and move on, right? Like it's all Republicans talk about is national security. It's the border, it's the invasion, it's Marxism, socialism, Islam, whatever it happens to be. I think we all agree on that. Number 8, religion and government are intertwined. Now, you're seeing currently from the Republican Party, all of them stand up and say, like, what's wrong with being a Christian nationalist? We are a Christian nationalist country. We're putting the 10 Commandments in school. In Oklahoma, they're saying they're going to teach from the Bible. So the intertwining of government and religion, obviously that's Republicans. That's definitely not Democrats. So 8 for 8. Corporate power is protected. corporations protected. Donald Trump is telling them if he gets elected, he's going to cut their taxes and cut regulations for them.
Right.
Okay, great. So 9 for 9. We're already past the 8. Labor power is suppressed. We're talking about unions, suppressing the power of the worker's voice, the worker's ability to come together as a union and fight for their own rights against the owners of those companies. I think we both agree that that's a Democrat position where we want unions to be strong, and Republicans would like to eliminate that, right?
Sure.
10 for 10. Disrespect for the intellectuals and the arts. This is obvious, right? The attacks on Hollywood, the attacks on universities, the attacks on science, the attacks on education. This is what Republicans are doing. They go after all the people in art and
Like
in
Fauci
education.
is the best example.
Fauci's
Fauci
a
is the
perfect
best
example.
example. That's exactly. I mean, there's no place for intellectual experts in fascist authoritarian takeovers, right? Because the leader is the only person has to know everything. So a scientific expert that knows more than the leader can't be tolerated.
Number 12, obsession with crime and punishment, giving police almost limitless power to enforce laws. Donald Trump is advocating we indemnify the police, meaning that no matter what they do, we can't sue them.
Wow.
So that's probably MAGA. So that's 12 for 12. Rampant cronyism and corruption. Friends and associates appoint each other to government positions. Officials use governmental power and authority to protect their friends from accountability. Donald Trump's cabinet is completely made up of friends and family. He put Lara Trump as the head of the not the RNC, but the RNC. What's the division she's at? Whatever it is. He put her in charge. She has no experience.
RNC.
I don't have like all the notes and details and stuff like that, but
So
I could assure you if you do some research, you're going to find out that most of the left is in bed together.
No. Agreeing with each other is different than having
Did you
your
read
friends.
that tenet again? The one you just would you read
Yeah,
it again?
rampant cronyism and corruption. Friends and associates appoint each other to government positions.
Yeah.
Officials use governmental power and authority to protect their friends from accountability.
So take Project 2025. That's what Project 2025 is, right? Like it's a training program, right? And a vetting program. Wait, let me speak. Let me just say something. It's a vetting program, right? And you have to, that's what they did at the RNC. They fired everyone. They said you can reapply, but you have to take a loyalty pledge and be vetted. Right? That's what Project 2025 is about, is ensuring that every single person in the what you guys call the deep state, but civil servants, non-elected government workers, are loyal to Trump and have taken a loyalty pledge specifically to him.
Didn't so you're saying that's something that Trump wanted or supported?
Yeah.
Yes.
Didn't he say hold on, didn't he come out and say that he was not in support of it? Or is it,
Yeah, he lied.
Oh, he lied?
Yeah, that's another
look,
thing he lied about.
brother-
His Russell
yeah,
Vogt,
go ahead.
the man who is the architect of Project 2025, Trump hired him. He is the man. The Republican policy platform came out yesterday. That is the man that created both.
Okay.
All right. So that's 13 for 13. We're on 14 now. Fraudulent elections. Elections are often a complete sham. Elections may be manipulated by smear campaigns, manipulation of the media to control elections, occasional assassination of opposition candidates. I would argue that this is I would argue that this is not something that Republicans have been able to do on a national scale, but certainly on a local level, as you see them push nonsense voter ID laws, gerrymandering, eliminating drop boxes in poor areas, not supporting the idea that federal election day should be a national holiday where nobody works. These types of things I would say prove that Republicans do not want everybody to vote, and they're on board. Like they all say that too. They don't want everybody to be able to vote.
Yeah,
and
you guys want people that don't even exist.
Yes, we want every citizen to vote.
You
yes.
want dead people to vote.
No, nobody's ever advocated for that ever.
Oh man, you want illegal immigrants to vote.
Nobody's advocated for that.
Hold on, undocumented migrants.
Nobody's advocated for that either.
Thank
These
you
are
for
just things
correcting
you've been
yourself.
told. Could you tell me which
I'm very
Democrat?
proud for Mexico.
Could you tell me which Democrat ever proposed that?
Which Democrat?
That people who are here and are not citizens should be able to vote in federal elections.
There's a letter right now that Biden wrote or something like that he's in full support of that.
No,
That's absolutely
No,
not
hold
true.
on. He wants to hold on. What he wants to do he wants to make them citizens to give them the right to vote, so that you
No,
can't.
look, I can correct that lie if you want. So
No,
there's
Arthur, he
500 to
disagreed with that.
600,000 people that would apply to what you're talking about, and it's people who are married to a citizen and have already been in the United States for 10 years. But those people, even who do qualify, which the final terms and what that is and the process to apply haven't even been finalized and will not apply to this election. So that's not true.
You know what the problem is? So the problem is,
You're woefully misinformed about most things.
no, that's not what I was going to say. What I think the problem is really that it's not so much that we disagree, like from left to right. It's more about we're just all accepting certain sets of information. Like you're saying, if you're saying my source is trash, and I'm saying your source is
You
trash.
don't have any sources.
That's not what's going
Well,
on.
regardless,
We're bringing actual sources. The problem that we have is that everybody thinks their opinion should carry the same weight. You're just repeating things you've heard. You have no idea if they're true. We just went through 14 tenets of fascism. We only disagreed on one, on 14. And I think you're wrong about that. And you think I'm wrong. And that's okay. This is an area where we can agree to disagree. But you clearly are okay with fascism. You just went through all of that.
no, I was
13 out of 14 you agreed on.
no, I'm just not trying to argue and go back and forth cutting each other off, and I'm just agreeing with you, saying go ahead and get through it.
I mean, you seem to want to argue when it's something you understand or you think you have a point with. But I asked you on each one of these, does that sound like MAGA? And you said yes. I asked every time. 13 out of 14 you agreed. So the real question you should be asking yourself
No,
is
I was
looking
like,
at the hold on.
yeah,
Hold on.
go
I
ahead.
thought you didn't want to argue and cut each other off. The question you should be asking yourself now is, when has fascism worked? When has there been a fascist leader and it turned out great? And if you do the research, you'll find out that answer is never. And then here you are
I didn't agree.
supporting fascism.
I didn't agree. I was saying
what?
yes. I was saying yes, like move on. Not yeah, you're right. No, you're not.
Oh.
Well,
Sure.
you should
But you're
thank us
smart.
for the free education. Thank
thought
you,
you were-
Jay, for educating me on something I was woefully
I coulda-
misinformed or had no idea about.
I could have Googled it in 2 seconds, and I would have felt the same way about it.
First of all, I don't think you would have known what to Google, but I don't care. Anyways, anything else you want to discuss before we get to the next person?
No, man, keep on trucking. I'm enjoying the show.
All right, brother. Thanks. Appreciate it, man. Have a good day.
He was
Here
nice.
we go. 13 out of 14. I don't know who's next. Let me check with Jen. Jen, do you know who's next? If you want to bring him up, or I can just look. I don't know who was next. I don't even know if Jen's here. Let's look who. I think Patrick's been here a while, I think. Hey, Patrick.
Yo, what's up? Putin and Trump 2025, baby. Let's go.
That laugh at the beginning.
What's up, man?
Hey.
You ready for another round?
Sure. What do you want to talk about today?
Well, I'd
Besides
like
Putin, Trump 2025.
Well,
I know,
Putin's
I'm being-
pro-Trump bot farm was just broken up on X. Did you see that?
Listen, you know I'm being facetious when I say that.
Well, did you know that there was a Russian bot farm that was just busted on X, pushing
No.
a bunch of pro-Trump, pro-Russia stuff?
I had no idea. That's
Well,
pretty
they're
crazy.
interfering in our elections again, and you guys are fine with it.
Oh man, I'd like to see the proof on that.
Yeah, you can read the indictment.
Okay, well, so are they guilty already?
I mean, it doesn't look good, dude.
Okay, well, we'll see what happens, right? And then after that, then I'll believe it.
You don't. So you think that there's not Russian bot farms that
This
are
is the
like you?
first time we've heard about Russia interfering with our election.
Right, because they keep doing it and they keep getting caught.
Well,
Yeah, there's a
I've heard it said
1,000-page
it's
Senate
wrong.
Judiciary report, a bipartisan Senate Judiciary report confirming Russian interference in our elections. You can check that out.
Okay, all right. So that's pretty crazy. So I wanted to piggyback off what you guys what the last guest was talking about. You're like, name some good things that were great that Trump did.
Sure.
Okay, number one, economic boom.
What do you mean?
Before the pandemic, the U.S. economy experienced significant growth.
Did he? Was his growth better than his predecessor?
It doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, it does if you're saying boom.
Well,
If you're saying he slightly improved the economy from where it was, then I would agree with you. But you said economic boom, and that's not what happened.
okay. Well, this is from the presidential archives. So
The presidential archives said that Donald Trump. First of all,
Trump right
presidential
now,
archives
popped up.
are literally just like those don't have to be true, right? The presidential archives are an archive of everything like the Trump White House put out. That doesn't mean it's true. That's just it's a historical record of everything they did, everything they posted.
Okay, let me keep going. So he surpassed projections, and America gained 7 million new jobs.
Surpass what projections?
The projections that that were made for America for job growth at that particular time.
I'm sure that there were some projections that he outpaced, and I'm sure there are some that he didn't.
Okay,
but to say that but I mean, Biden's done that too. Every president has done that.
Right. So the middle class family income increased by nearly $6,000.
Okay.
Unemployment reached an historic low of 3.5%.
And have we been lower since then?
That's fine. We want to get better, right?
No, I'm just wondering, have we been lower since then?
I would say so.
Yeah, under who?
Under Biden.
Okay. Just making sure.
Okay. Look, you got to give credit where credit's due. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, no, I was just making sure you knew. That wasn't a criticism of you.
The situation's different. You know, a lot of the calculations on Biden's part is
no, it's calculated the same. That's just conspiracy theories that MAGA is using to try to discredit Biden's success. But no, they're calculated the same.
I just said you got to give credit where credit's due.
But they are calculated the same.
Okay. Poverty rates for various demographics also reached record lows.
All of those have been surpassed by Joe Biden.
That's great. We want to grow, right?
Okay, but if we're what I'm saying is if you're hold on. So if you're saying that these are the things that make you want to vote for Trump again, that's all I'm saying is it doesn't make sense. Okay. If these are the things that are important to you, but Joe Biden's done better on them, wouldn't you vote for Joe Biden?
No. And the reason why I'm not voting for Joe Biden because I don't think he's mentally competent.
No. The question is, like, if we're talking about results, you brought up results, right? We weren't talking about competency. You were saying these are the results of Donald Trump. Joe Biden has beat every metric you've just brought up, every single one. So if you like, do you care about results or do you care about like how somebody speaks?
Okay. All right. Listen, can I continue?
I would like you to answer that question first, and then you can.
If we're talking about data and success,
I don't care about results.
Data-driven success. Okay, he doesn't care about results. So yeah, because we're talking about data-driven like success through data, right? And now you're switching into feelings. That's why Jay stopped you. Now you're just saying, if we're looking at data, Biden is better than Trump.
Okay, let's look. I will go over Trump's, and then I'll pull up Biden's, and then we'll compare the two. Okay.
Compare what? What are you talking about?
Numbers.
Well, yeah, we're doing it step by step.
Okay.
You can go check these after. You can go find out if anything we said wasn't true.
Okay. All right. So another one is deregulation and tax cuts. Trump
I think
the largest tax cuts in history, which I love because I believe in trickle down economics.
You own a corporation?
I own 2 businesses.
I said, do you own a corporation?
I own 2 businesses. It's the same thing.
It's not.
It's not the same thing.
Listen,
God, it's so embarrassing. They never have any idea what is going on.
God.
What do you have, an LLC or what type of business do you have?
I have one LLC and then a C corp.
Okay, so no, you don't own a corporation. Got it.
Okay, it's still a business, and it cut my taxes. Scores of environmental.
Can I ask you a question about that? Can I just ask you a question about that? Everybody likes tax cuts. There's no human being that would on earth that wants to pay more taxes. Do you look at tax cuts as far as like just that I paid less in taxes, or do you ever look at what were the effects of these tax cuts? What did it mean for the American? Just let me finish real quick, Patrick. Do you ever look at like what were the results? How did this affect the American economy?
Oh, absolutely. So I'll answer that perfectly. So when I don't have to pay the government as much money, it lowers my bottom line. Okay, I'm in the tree business, so what I have to do is I have to go. It densely affects my industry because people don't want to spend money when the cost of living is so high, unless on tree work, unless it's an emergency. They don't care about how pretty their trees are, or if they need to be trimmed or whatnot. It's something that's last on their mind that they spend money.
How much does your service cost?
Around $500 an hour.
Okay, so you're saying that the average American who saved like $200 or $300 a year suddenly was able to pay for your services? That's
Well,
a
you know
half
what?
hour of your time.
It's not $200 or $300 a
No,
year.
it is. So this is one of the tricks that they love to do. So they take the average amount Americans saved, right? And they include the billionaires and millionaires in that number. When you take them out and you just go at the average American, like the middle class American, depending on the year, it was like between $200 and $400.
Well,
So what you're saying doesn't really make so what you're saying doesn't really make
my
sense, right? Like they couldn't even afford an hour of your time with those savings.
Listen to me. It doesn't
Listen
matter
to
about
me.
that.
No, I need you to address that.
I'm trying.
They couldn't even afford an hour of your time.
People have savings and stuff. What I'm trying to say is that when I get the tax cut, I can now be competitive and lower my hourly rate to implement, so I can help people out that need it done.
What
Do
was
you
your tax
understand?
cut rate? What did it go to?
I would
You
have
were
to
at
pull out
what
my
and you went to
fucking
what?
paperwork, dude. I'm sitting here with you on TikTok. Like, if you want to have a conversation outside of this, I can go through those numbers with you. But I want to move on here.
Fair enough.
Scores of environmental regulations were eliminated. A lot of wasted spending on this stuff.
Wait, hold on. Environmental regulations are wasted spending?
Yeah,
Can you
because
explain that? How
the
are
more
environmental
regulations you have,
regulation? Could
the
you
more
just let me finish? Could you just let me finish the questions, Patrick? Just which environmental regulations were saving us money now? Like by getting rid of them, what's saving us money?
What you do. This is what you do, Jay. I'm
I
trying.
ask questions. Yeah, I know. I
No,
don't. Yeah, this isn't
You
your
can't
platform.
just come up and be like, here are my
Yeah.
feelings today. Like people think
you
we're
can
running
look
like a
at-
therapy session where you like
Oh,
call
you-
in and
you do
just
the
yell a
same thing
bunch
all
of
the
things.
time. You say the same thing all the time.
Yeah, I ask you for specifics. I'm sorry if that offends you, but I'm still
Okay.
going to keep doing it. And if you don't like that, I'd recommend maybe not coming up here anymore because
Okay.
that's what I'm going to do every time.
All right, Jay. All right, let me answer your question now. All right.
Thank you.
So, when you have all these regulations, you need more bureaucrats.
No, that wasn't my question. I'm asking for something specific, like which
You want me to tell
specific
you
regulations
what
did we save money
regulations
on?
Were eliminated, bro. There's probably a list of them.
There probably is, which is why you should be able to name one of them.
Okay,
And tell me and
alright.
explain to me what you're
Alright.
talking. Dude, you don't get to just speak in generalities and then have people just believe you.
This is not something that I really care about. I wanted to move on to the
Well,
stuff.
then
that I
why'd you
really-
don't bring up things you don't care
I'm
about
going
from
down
now
the
on
list,
then?
bro.
Okay, gotcha. All right, go to the next one then if you don't care about this.
I really don't care about this.
All right, then go to the next one.
I just won't read the ones I don't care about. So
That's a good idea.
So he did put he appointed the Supreme Court justices, which I thought was good.
You're a big fan of overturning Roe v. Wade?
That women don't have bodily autonomy.
Is that the only law that you guys are mad about? That they
No, I'm
overturned?
also
no.
mad about them saying that you're allowed to give tips to government workers who do what you want them to do. Judges, politicians, as long as you give them money after the fact and not before, you can
Yeah.
do that. I was
Clarence
upset with that
Thomas has
decision.
gotten like 4 million in bribes, and then basically Snyder v. United States ruled that as long as you receive your bribe after, it's a gratuity.
Okay, and have you seen Nancy Pelosi's?
Are you listening to us, or are you
You're only
just?
saying these people's money doubled. All of theirs money.
But I could go into many other things. I think they criminalize
you have no-
sleeping
you have no standing
outdoors,
there 'cause
but
they
the
all do.
Republicans don't want to do anything to help the unhoused not sleep outdoors. I'm very confused about that.
They all do it.
They've
They all do
decided
it.
that federal agencies, scientific experts, for instance, no longer can or need to weigh in on judicial decisions. And do you know that Neil
it's called the
Gorsuch,
there's definite deference.
Neil Gorsuch in his writing for the majority literally was saying nitrous oxide, right? But he was trying to say nitrogen oxide, which are two different things, which is an exact example of why a judge who's not a scientific expert should not be ruling on things that scientists need to weigh in on. But now this is our reality.
That's a lot to unpack. So you said a bunch of things there, but you were referring at one point to the Chevron deference, which is good all across the board for all Americans because
It
lets-
absolutely is not.
Why do you think it's good, Patrick?
God. Do you think it's good for bureaucrats to interpret the law how they see fit?
I think it would be dope if when I asked you questions, you answered them instead of asking me a question. Why do you think
Because
you made
I
the
don't
claim that it's
believe-
good across the board? Could you
because
just explain that?
I don't believe that anybody should be interpreting the law other than lawmakers.
Lawmakers? No, lawmakers don't interpret the law. Judges interpret the law. Lawmakers write the law. The judges interpret the
So
law.
why are bureaucrats? Why do you drive? Why do you drive down the highway and it says fines doubled in this zone? That's not even a
What are you
law.
speaking about?
That's not even a law. They're
not.
triple dipping, double dipping. You get a ticket in all these different zones. They're making up their own fucking laws.
What the hell are you talking about, man?
Child
What the hell
support
are you
is
talking? Why are we
unconstitutional.
talking about speed limits now?
It's just an example of how
No, it's not.
bureaucrats make up
It's an
their own
example of
laws
you.
and interpret the law how they see fit.
It's an example of you not understanding how our government works. When you said it was
You're
their
just-
job to
I
interpret
beat-
the
I
law.
beat you there too. Got you there.
Yeah, you did. You did great there.
That's
You really did
1-0.
great. So, but again, let's go back. So, Chevron ruling, that was the correct ruling. You said it was good across the board. Can you explain that?
I just did. I
Tap
said,
the
I don't
screen,
think-
guys. If
I
you
do
have
not
a
think that
message, wait, let me
bureaucrats
just
have
say
the
something,
ability to
Patrick, since
interpret
this
the
is
law how
obviously
they
going to
see
take forever. Guys, if you would like to donate, we do rely on your
Sorry,
tips
I've
and
been checking this.
donations to keep our show going and our research going. This is
You don't
Cash
even
App
know
and
what the
Venmo.
Chevron
You
deference
can
is.
She's
donate and
talking.
send us a message, question, comment, concern, question for Patrick since he's providing us with so much information, whatever the case may be, and we will read it aloud on the air as long as we won't get banned. And keep tapping the screen, guys. Tap, tap, tap. Keep tapping. Share the live. We may have another person other than Patrick if we share the live enough.
Patrick, I muted you for a second, but just let me read these comments and then you can go. From Devin or Devon, not sure. This is a payment so that Jade never does the Donald Trump dance again. Bribe accepted. I do accept bribes. I'm fine with that. Bree says if the next debate isn't a you got served style dance battle in an industrial meat freezer, how will we ever know who to vote for? That's a quote
Amen.
from Bull. That's a quote
And
from
Westmore
Bullfrog.
will be our candidate then.
Let's see. Robin says fighting the people's fight, true blue through and through. Melissa says love your talks, keep up the good work. And then Dustin, how much to dance on stream? A lot. All right, Patrick, go ahead. You can unmute.
All right, my favorite part is the record high stock market growth and GDP growth.
And both of those, you understand, have been
So Biden should be your candidate because just yesterday the stock market, or 2 days ago the stock market hit
Like we
record
we
growth.
surpassed
So
both
Biden
of
must
those.
be your candidate, right?
Yeah.
If that's what matters is who's number one in all these categories, then
Oh
Biden's
my
your man.
Lord. We said we were
I
gonna
think the
pull up
difference
from
in how
now,
I
okay?
think the
I'm gonna
difference
pull
in
him
how
up.
we operate is that you come into a situation and you're like, this is my guy, and I'm now going to read things that I think reinforce my position. And the problem is
talking about that.
if that is your position, if your position is I'm voting for him for these reasons, in every instance, Joe Biden has been better, with the exception of cutting environmental protections and cutting taxes. So are those your two big things? Because everything else Joe Biden has been better at.
No.
Okay, well then, can you explain to me why you keep bringing up things that Joe Biden has been better at? As like proof for why Donald Trump's the better candidate?
Yeah, hold on. Why don't you guys all go to their Cash App and donate to them real quick while I pull this up?
Oh, thank you,
Yeah, but
Patrick.
while you're pulling that up, I'm
what
just
a great
asking-
idea, Patrick.
Yeah, thank you.
Tap the screen, guys. Keep tapping. HVAC gets 1 million likes.
That's true. But I guess the question while you're pulling that up is like, if you say that those things are important to you, but Joe Biden's better on them, can you help us understand why you're not voting for Joe Biden then?
I'm not voting for, I already told you that in the beginning. I'm not voting for Joe Biden because I don't think he's competent to be a president.
But he's number one in all these categories you're naming.
But why is his approval rating 41%?
I don't know, because a lot of people don't approve of the job that he's doing. But you're using statistics. You're not using approval rating. If somebody thinks Joe Biden's a bad president, even if a majority of this country thinks Joe Biden's a bad president, I'm still going to ask them the same questions I ask you. Explain to me why. And I think most of them would have the same problem that you have. You have no fucking idea why. You don't know. You just feel that way.
I'll give Biden this. He did receive higher marks than Trump on handling race relations and healthcare.
Yeah,
So,
of course.
That's
Of course he
good.
would. Yeah. But again, like, I don't really care what the
Trump-
polling says. I don't think the average American has any idea what's going on, to be honest. I think most Americans are woefully misinformed, and they get their opinions from their friends or from social media. They've already decided who they're voting for, and most can't explain it. And that's not a right or left thing. Like, I think that's just most Americans. So I don't really care about public opinion polls, to be honest.
Okay, so
I mean, Trump was
I'm
polling
big
in
on
the
tax cuts.
Trump's never had good public polling numbers. He still doesn't.
Yeah.
He won. Biden didn't have good public opinion numbers when he beat Trump.
Okay, well, you said that his GDP, Biden's GDP growth is better than Trump's, and it says here from Reuters that only in the first 3 years before the pandemic, Trump's was 2.7%, including Biden's pandemic affected first year. It was slower at 2.3%.
And what year was that?
That came in. It doesn't say the year here, but that's just this is from my source is Reuters and USA Today, and there's 4 more.
Read it again.
It says Trump during his first 3 years in office, pre-pandemic quarterly GDP growth compounded at an annualized rate of around 2.7, excluding Biden's pandemic affected first year. It was slower, 2.3%. But then it says his economy benefited from the pandemic era consumer spending boom, while Trump's economy saw slightly larger contributions from business investments.
Yeah, but Biden's still slightly ahead. Like the average growth of Trump's GDP was 2.7% year over year, and the average growth of Biden's is 2.9. Even in that, Biden is slightly better.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're pretty close. I mean, they're not far off.
Yeah, but still, if you want number one, because you guys, Maga loves to be number one. Who's number one? But I agree, it is close.
The only reason why I'm not voting for him is because I don't think he's competent. I don't want Kamala Harris to run the country. And plus, if
what makes you think Donald Trump? What makes you think
pro-American-
Donald? Wait, but hold on. Why is Donald Trump not competent? He's 3 years younger. He never says things that are true. He almost exclusively lies. He stumbles over his words all the time. And when he can't finish a sentence, he just goes and then he moves on. He does that too. If we're talking about mental competency, like, what's your argument that Trump is more competent than Biden?
Well, you can just look at it, watch the debate.
No, but I don't think you know what you're looking at. I'm far more concerned about a person who can't find, who never tells the truth, than a person who struggles to find the right words sometimes. Like Donald Trump tells some of the most moronic lies I've ever heard in my life. Like, just the dumbest shit, stuff that are obviously lies. Why is that not more concerning than like, if you had friends and you had one friend who like kept stumbling on his word and another friend who lied to you about everything, you probably would be far more okay with the friend who stumbled over their words than the person who lied to you about everything. Only in politics can somebody lie about everything, but because they lie more articulately, they're like, they win. Right. It's the only place this would matter.
Yeah, you're right. If it was my friends, it would be a different story. And if it was the case,
why don't you hold it? So why not hold your politicians to the same standard?
I wasn't done that sentence, but
sorry.
It would be different if I thought that it was him just stumbling over words. He lied numerous times at that debate. One of them was a major lie, like he didn't even know what the hell he was talking about when he said nobody died, nobody was unalive under his watch.
That's not what he said. Do you want me to read the quote?
God, I watched.
What were they talking about during that time?
Afghanistan.
No, they were talking about the border.
No, they weren't. They were talking about
No, they were.
So I remember yours too, Patrick. There was a point where he was talking about Afghanistan. Let me look. I'll look up the Afghanistan.
It was two comments that were mixed. Maybe I'm wrong about this, but there was a time when they were talking about the border, and then they started talking about terrorism. And Trump talked about both Afghanistan and the border. And in the response to that, Biden brought up that it appeared what Trump was saying is that we had terrorists coming across the border on American soil and attacking American citizens. And Biden said, yeah, that hasn't happened under my watch.
No, he said that no military servicemen were unalived under his watch.
I don't think so, but I'll look.
He did, but I'm not. It's just I'm not going to place commander. Look, I'm just trying to be honest with you, and the truth is
And
that
you guys are
a
talking
lot of
about
us
two
haven't.
separate incidences. Yeah,
Okay.
like yeah, those are two separate incidences that both occurred during the debate.
Yeah. So I mean, honestly, if I wish Trump and Biden, both of them weren't running, but and I'm not voting for RFK because I think that's a wasted vote, and I'm not anti-vax. I think
Look, we get that, but
my
I
way
just
of
want to point
trying
out, like Donald Trump lied way more than Joe Biden did, and the only things that you're able to come up with is things that Joe Biden did. You have no idea that Donald Trump is lying to you, and that's what I'm trying to get across to you. Just like as a human, like
Tell me what he's lying to you about.
throw politics aside. You heard the conversation we had about fascism. 13 out of the 14, everybody agrees on this. Donald Trump lies every single day, right to your face, every single day. Explain to me why somebody being old and not finishing sentences is worse than that.
It's not that he's not finishing sentences; he's not even making sentences, and he doesn't even remember.
Well,
Yes,
I don't think I don't think you're watching him because he does that all the time. But do you see how you won't answer that question?
I just answered it.
But you're okay. So, all right, then I'll say this. You're wrong. And I would challenge you to do this. We'll get to the next guest. I would challenge you today to go watch not Joe Biden clips, go watch full speeches by Joe Biden. And then just tell me what you think he said. Then go do a Trump one. And I dare you to come back with a Trump manuscript and explain to me what the fuck he's talking about. If I read you the manuscript from a Trump rally right now and I read it, you would have no idea what he was talking about. It's absolute gibberish. Like, I can do it right now if you want.
You can.
Trump
and
rally
It's not
transcript.
just gibberish,
It's
though. It's
absolute
just him
gibberish.
complaining. It's about people wronged me and I want retribution. His speech, I was clipping his Trump rally yesterday at Doral. It's ridiculous. He's not talking about any issues, any policy. Biden has trouble getting his words out, but his words are correct. His words are on subject. And more importantly, the data that we have from his record speaks for itself. He beats Trump in pretty much every category.
Okay.
And you're saying I'll elect a criminal, I'll elect a guy that lies to me every day, I'll elect a guy that tried a coup, I'll elect a guy that is continually trying to undermine our United States elections when data shows that they've never been more free or more fair. I'll elect a guy who wants to disenfranchise American citizens from voting. All of these things are fine. I'll elect a guy who says women, people with uteruses in this country should not have bodily autonomy.
He never said that.
All of that.
He never said that.
What?
He
What are
never
you
said that
talking
women
about?
shouldn't have
Listen,
bodily autonomy. Show me where he said that.
that's well, let me explain to you something. When you say what we're doing with Roe v. Wade, when Roe v. Wade was overturned, women in this country lost bodily autonomy.
No, it was passed down to the states.
Yes.
So
Yes, and women in this country, inside of this country, right, have lost bodily autonomy.
Patrick, explain to me why
You're saying it's
fundamental
fine for
right.
some women to have bodily autonomy and some women to not. You enjoy bodily autonomy, Patrick, every single day.
Yeah.
And if men's bodily autonomy in this country was ever called into question, you guys would lose your minds if you were forced to get a medical procedure or forced to give someone blood to keep somebody else alive, and they were
We could talk
taking
about the
your
mandates.
resources. You would have a huge problem with it, Patrick. And you're saying, hey, it's fine. Just some women in some states, just some people with uteruses don't enjoy bodily autonomy. It is
So
not
it's just
fine.
about
It
women.
is
What
not
about the
okay.
mandate? What about the mandates?
You don't care because it doesn't affect you. Just say that. I don't
The
care.
mandates affect me.
Patrick,
If
no,
I
we're
had a
not.
job
We're
that
not
I
changing.
needed-
We're not changing that subject yet. We're not doing whataboutisms to mandates yet. But I do want to just ask, like, do you think each state should decide if black people can be slaves, or do you think the federal government should decide that?
I think we've already decided that.
I'm asking your opinion. I know what has
That's a-
happened.
You told me no whataboutisms, and you're doing a whataboutism.
No, I'm asking your opinion. That's not a whataboutism. This is me
My
asking your
opinion?
opinion. Yeah.
My opinion is that I think it should be a worldwide thing.
No, but obviously that's nonsense, and you're not answering my question. Do you think in this country, under our Constitution, states should be able to decide whether black people can be enslaved?
I think that it should be decided by everybody.
Do you think states individually should have
No,
that right?
because that's not everybody.
Okay, so no. All right. What about women voting? Do you think some states should be able to tell women they can't vote?
No.
Okay. Do you think states should be able to tell people what medical procedures they can have?
No.
Okay. So can you explain to me then why you think it's okay for states to tell women that they don't have control over their bodily autonomy when clearly in every other instance the federal government is the decider there, and they protected a right to for women to have an abortion up to 15 weeks. That was a federally granted right. Why should states individually get to determine the outcomes for women?
You said up to 15 weeks.
That's what Roe was. Yeah.
Okay, and so what you're saying is that now
The question I'm asking is,
I'm trying to
was it 24
understand.
weeks? Sorry, it might have been 24 weeks. Somebody's saying 24. I could have it wrong. But why should individual states get to decide how long a woman has before she gets to like choose with her own body? Some might say it's 6 weeks. Some might say it's 15. Some might say it's 16. Some might say it's 20. Why should individual states be able to control women?
Yeah, I mean, this is a very touchy subject. And honestly, I can't really speak on that because my opinion is I'm pro-life, okay? But I think that anybody should have a choice to do what they want with their
I
body.
know, but it seems like you're avoiding the question. You said that
think
you went
you'll
back to the
see.
states and you agreed with that, and I'm just asking you why you think with all these other rights that you recognize are granted by the federal government and they cross state lines, why is this particular right only directed at women? Why is this one okay? Why is it okay for this one to be decided by individual states?
Because listen, if the federal government decides it, then nobody really has a real say in it. But if the states do, then they do. And I think you'll see.
Well, let's talk.
Listen, can I
What
finish my-
percentage of
can I-
people supported Roe?
Listen, what I'm trying
No,
to say.
what percentage of people supported Roe?
I think you'll see.
What percentage of people supported
That's
Roe?
my point I'm trying to make. I think you'll see that even with this.
No, I'm not asking for a
people
point. What
will come
percentage of people?
together and it will be decided.
That
Everybody
doesn't make sense. You can't come together when individual states get to decide.
Yes, you can.
No, you can't.
I think you're lacking faith in humanity.
Well, then why are all these states' rules different then? Why are they all coming up with different rules?
The people are deciding on whether or not
They're
it's the
not.
rule.
No, the people are not. The people are not. None of these have been ballot initiatives. We have some ballot initiatives this November, but in many states, the people have no say. In every state, most people want the majority of people want the rights to abortion protected. And there are many states like Texas, like Idaho, like Florida, who are very much going against the will of the people and just putting in rules.
Yeah. Well, listen, man. The problem with this is,
Do you understand? But that wouldn't have existed had Donald Trump not appointed judges that were going to overturn that. We wouldn't be having this conversation.
why do you think they overturned that?
Because that's what they were sent there to do. And I know that because the
Really?
people, yeah, and we know that because the people who wrote the list of candidates and gave it to Trump have told us. And Trump, you can have it from his own mouth. He says, I have a list of candidates, and guess what? They're all pro-life.
Well,
And then they all lied in their congressional hearings. They said Roe was settled. They weren't going to overturn Roe. Every one of them said they had no plans to overturn Roe, and then they did. So they lied to us. They were bought and paid for, and now we have this issue that you seem to want to ignore. Like it's terrible. This is terrible.
Well,
this is
51%
Christian
of
nationalism. This is
population-
fascism.
51% of the population.
The architect of Project 2025 is a
Oh
Christian
my God, he's
nationalist.
not backing
Trump
that.
then hired him. Trump hired him to also be the architect of the Republican policy platform.
Oh my gosh.
You don't care. I get it, Patrick. You do
No,
not care
no,
whether
that's
or
not
not
true.
you enjoy bodily autonomy, but whether or not everyone in this country does does not matter to you. That's loud and clear.
I
That's what
already said
conservatives
that I believe
underestimate.
that
You
women
know,
should have a choice with their body.
I was
That's my-
listening to Russell Vogt, the same man, the architect of Project 2025, speak to another one of his Christian nationalist friends yesterday. And you know what they were talking about? That they had to repeal the 19th Amendment. You know what that is? Women's right to vote. You know why? Because they said even if we made this country a Christian nationalist country, in 50 years, if women retain the right to vote, we'd be right back to a liberal nation. And I know, I get it. You don't care. but many people in this country do.
51% of the people have spoken and said that they're backing Donald Trump, and only 41 are saying that they're backing Biden.
No, the people speak in November, my friend.
Well, right now, currently, why would, if they're so worried about that?
How many people were included in that poll?
Oh,
If the answer's not what 200 million, then no, the people have not spoken.
Rating, bro. It does. Okay.
What's that?
All right. It's an approval rating.
Yeah, that doesn't matter.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
Numbers don't matter when Trump's up in them.
No, not numbers don't matter. Numbers do matter. Approval ratings 4 months out from election don't really matter. Do you know both of them have abysmal approval ratings?
Yeah, I know. And
the difference is Joe Biden, like we saw Joe Biden's approval ratings when he ran against Trump. He outperformed them. Right?
Yeah.
People, we don't even need, like, I don't have I don't have a strong feeling of approval for Joe Biden. There's a lot of things that I think he didn't do well at, but I'm still going to vote for him. These approval ratings have.
Can you tell me what it is?
What's that?
What can you tell me something bad about him?
Yeah, I hate that he early on sided with Israel. I still think he's giving too much deference to Israel. They're clearly like committing a G-side, and he's largely not stood in the way of that. It's only been recently that he's like kind of stood in the way. I think he's been really, really soft with unions. Like he stood up with the United Auto Workers, but he had plenty of times to stand with unions before that, and he didn't. So I think that there are places he could have done much better. I would have liked to see something done on healthcare, though I realize with our current makeup in Congress that wasn't going to happen.
Right. I agree with a lot with what you said. I don't think we should be funding any foreign wars, to be honest with you.
Well, Trump does. Trump wants to keep funding Israel, and he said, "I want to finish the job."
That's what the Republican platform's about. The
Yeah.
Republican platform's about the
funding him,
proliferation of the American military. Wait, I just have to play the clip for you because I know you don't believe me. This is Russell Vought's friend, the guy Trump, the architect of Project 2025 that Trump hired to write the Republican policy platform. This is his friend Joel Webbon, Webbon.
Christian nationalist wand. We wake up tomorrow in a Christian nation, a Christian nationalist nation as you're describing, all right? There's a lot of fears that people have. Here's one of them. Will women have the right to vote tomorrow if you wave that magic Christian wand?
No.
Okay, why not? I want to get into why not. Yeah, that's great.
Because if we had a Christian nation tomorrow and women did have the right to vote, we would not have a Christian nation within 50 years.
Yeah. Those are the people that Trump's letting in power to write policy for our country.
Okay.
That's why I'm concerned. It's not about Trump
though.
is a criminal and a grifter, and he should not be in power. But even if Trump goes away, this problem, the conservative platform, is still there. They are trying to make our country a Christian and nationalist nation where people with uteruses have no rights. We don't have bodily autonomy, and we are incubators.
I mean, that's like a lot of assumptions there. I mean, he doesn't.
And that's a pastor. That's a pastor, by the way.
I watched the pastor talk about how good Biden is, and I also watched Biden in Philly not even know where he was on stage the other day. So I mean,
always back to this. Yeah. Always, but they have nothing to say. They have nothing to say. But Biden's confused. And you know what's so sad, Patrick? If Biden's so confused, he beats Trump in every single category. What does that say about your guy? He's incompetent. He is incompetent.
Except for the approval rating.
Yeah, which doesn't matter. Remember last time they ran against each other? How'd that go?
Well, nobody can draw crowds like Joe Biden.
I'm just wondering how that went the last time they campaigned against each other and had an election. How'd that go?
I don't like to discuss it because I don't agree with it.
Oh, you think it was stolen?
I don't want to say anything. I know.
Yeah, well, that checks. It makes sense that you would believe something without evidence. In fact, not without evidence. You would believe something in the face of all the evidence telling you otherwise. That actually checks out. And that's who Trump likes. When Trump said, "I like the uneducated," it doesn't mean that they didn't go to school or that they're dumb. It means he likes people who just believe what he says and don't educate themselves. Like at this point, for somebody to say that the election was still stolen, like you're living under a rock. You haven't done any research of your own. You have no idea what you're talking about. That's one of the dumbest things that a person in this country could believe at this point. The evidence is so overwhelming. Like it's like flat earth overwhelming, probably more. But maybe you believe in flat Earth too. I don't know.
No, I don't believe in flat Earth.
Okay, well, flat Earth is on the level of dumbness as believing the election was stolen. It really is, dude. There is. How do you lose every court case? How do you lose every single one? How do they do recounts in every one of these states? And every state comes back after the recounts and says, "Yep, it was correct."
Yo, your boy Mr. Jones believes the Earth's flat.
I don't know if that's true. Does he really?
Yeah, he does.
I don't know. Fuck, that's dumb. Jones, if you're here, that's dumb. The Earth is not flat. That's so stupid. I love Mr. Jones, but that's dumb.
I quote, "I love the poorly educated." He emphasized that his support base included people of all backgrounds, from highly educated to less educated, and he expressed affection for the latter group. While the statement sparked reaction and raised eyebrows, it remains a memorable moment from his campaign.
Yeah, and now think about all the people that have defected. And now think of all the people that defected from Donald Trump and the MAGA movement. It's those that were highly educated. It's those that educated themselves on the issues. It's those who were willing to look into what Trump was doing and not just believe every word he said. You're making my point for me.
No, basically, he loves everybody.
But he has particular affection. Wait, read the last part. He has particular affection for these people. Why? I'm not saying he doesn't like the highly educated people that support him, but if you look at the people who have left, it's not dummies. The dummies all showed up. You got Marjorie Taylor Greene, she showed up. Lauren Boebert, she showed up. The highly educated that aren't like self-avowed fascists, they left. The only highly educated people you have left are just like, they're the ones on stage now going, yeah, we're just Christian nationalists.
So every Trump supporter is a Christian nationalist.
That is, how did you get that out of what I said?
I'm just saying, because you just keep on bringing up Christian nationalist. Like
I said the people who are educated, like the Senate, people like Josh Hawley, who is educated, is also saying, I'm a Christian nationalist. Ted Cruz, who is educated, says, I'm a Christian nationalist. Mitt Romney, who is educated, is like, this guy fucking sucks. Liz Cheney, educated, this guy sucks. Adam Kinzinger, educated, this guy sucks. Justin Amash, who was the smartest person and the best representative the Republicans ever had, left. They're like, I'm not riding with this guy.
I would like to go over the 13 things of fashion.
We got to get to the next guest. There's people waiting. Come back though, and we'll do it next time.
Yep. All right.
All right, brother. See ya.
Bye, Patrick. I enjoyed that. Check the messages, please.
I've got them. Wasn't me says, for doctor said I'm going deaf. The news was hard to hear.
That's a good one.
Lindsay says, because I love hearing Felice tell men how it is. What's up, Jen?
Thanks, Lindsay.
There's a lot of people in requests. So
Okay.
I just wanted to say, the comments are flying, so I can't get, I'm sure people aren't seeing them. If you're in requests and you're not opposition, please drop out of requests. If you come up and you're not opposition, I'm going to have to remove you, just so you know.
Oh, shoot. Kimmy said $5 to drop Patrick. Sorry, I didn't see that. I'll try and get to these quicker. Jen, you can bring up whoever's next. Brett says, does Felice get tired of putting together a lengthy outline, then have Maga take up the whole live with therapy sessions?
No, but they're so educational. Like, trust me. I love educating myself.
Jamie says Patrick is a putz, in my humble opinion. I appreciate the humility there. Jay says, this is for Patrick. Can you name, you know what? Never mind. To Felice, I'm married, but wanted to say you're beautiful and keep schooling MAGA. Jay, you're all right too. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Rachel says, how do you make Budweiser?
Budweiser?
Send him to school.
That's what I was going to say.
You were?
Something like that.
It's crazy that they don't mention inflation when that's literally the only thing that was better under Trump. They make it easy. True. It's because then you have to ask how to explain
the
that.
thing about that is because Trump, please remember, Trump's only in office for 3 years. That was Obama's inflation, right? Like Trump, the economy doesn't turn on a dime because someone new is in the office. Like much of Trump's success, what little he had with the economy, had to do with Biden. Obama turning the recession around and becoming successful, right? He was in office 3 years before the pandemic.
Why don't ants get sick? Because they have little antibodies. That was from Sully.
Little antibodies.
Jacob says, "You're so awesome, RTP. So are you, Felice. Keep educating people and making the world a better place. You're both amazing people. Thank you. That's very kind." And last one, Michelle says, "I'm disgusted that man had no reaction to them saying women shouldn't vote." Yeah, fair enough.
I'm so
All
glad
right.
someone said that, but just notice that how it doesn't matter at all. If people with uteruses have bodily autonomy or not matters not at all.
All
to
right.
them. That's the truth.
JW Pinu, you can unmute. Welcome.
Hello, hello.
Hey, what's up?
I'm going to be quick. I don't want to take much of your time. I'm in opposition, but in internal opposition, unfortunately, in that I think like the guy before, and there's probably a lot of people, that are the undecided, whatever swing voter that don't like either candidate. And I feel like we have the opportunity.
The double haters. That's what you guys are called in polling, just so you know. If you want to know what the name of that group is, it's called the double haters.
Okay. Yeah. So the basically like these people are more likely to just not vote, and that is going to give Trump that the win, in my opinion. If we have the opportunity to get some energy, get somebody that's gonna, sway the guy before, because he sounded like he's swayable, to basically, go out there and deliver the message that needs to be delivered that you guys are doing, but the guy at the top of the ticket can't do it. Like, he just can't do it. Literally stood on the stage for 90 minutes, and the guy that was doing all the lies, doing everything, literally looked better and came off better, sounding better. And to all the uneducated, unsmart people that you guys are describing that exist out there, that's what is going to appeal to them. So in my opinion, I know this is not what you guys are for, but I just think the guy needs to get out of the way and let somebody who can deliver the message do it, because otherwise I do think we're shooting ourselves in the foot.
I missed that.
Podiatry.
I caught the end.
What is that guy's name? Zaddy? Kind of the same thing that guy was saying. Remember?
Yeah, look, we don't have control over that. And so sitting here complaining about it is silly.
Why do you say we don't have control over it? Our voices are being heard.
Because we do not have control over it.
Our voices are being heard. That's why it's being discussed. That's why
our voices are being heard.
Republicans, great idea.
And we still don't have control over it.
You don't think if enough people speak up and say, get out of the way, get some energy, get somebody new that can actually deliver the message, you don't think that would change things?
No.
George Clooney's article today, you don't think that's going to help?
Who the fuck cares about George Clooney?
I'm just saying,
God.
people.
George Clooney's article today. No,
uneducated
I do not.
people care about it.
If it's about how to act, then maybe. I don't care what George Clooney thinks.
I'm just saying,
we had an election. Do you think that there's people who voted for Joe Biden last time who are now going to vote for Donald Trump because of that debate performance?
I think there's people that won't vote because.
Okay, but hold on. Just stay with me. Just answer that question. Do you think there are people who voted for Joe Biden last time who are going to vote for Donald Trump now?
Who voted
not, right?
Who voted for Joe Biden in 2020
and are going to vote for Trump in 2024?
Probably not.
Probably not, right? So then we have to look at okay, well, are there people that are going to sit out? Maybe. So what are our options as a electorate? We have one of two options. We can keep demanding Joe Biden step down, and maybe he will, maybe he won't. We don't have control over that. Nobody does. Those are his delegates. He gets to decide what to do with them. So we can do that, or we can allow that to happen internally, and we can support him publicly, and then if he steps down, we support the next person, right? All this crying and bitching and moaning that we're doing right now is making people not want to vote. It adds to that. So there's people, I can't tell you the amount of messages I have in my DMs of people saying, I appreciate what you guys are doing. After the debate, I had absolutely no hope. None. I thought it was over. And listening to you guys talk about Joe Biden in the way that you are, while acknowledging the problems that he has, gives me hope. And I'm excited to vote for him again. We have two options, but the thing that we do as liberals is, God damn it, we're negative. We are the most negative people. It's never enough. Every time we have a president, I mean, think of just the people maybe on this app that may say like, oh, I'll never vote for Joe Biden. I would never. It's the lesser of two evils, and they're on the left, and we're like, what the fuck are you? Of course, Joe Biden. Of course, the lesser of two evils is always the better choice. And of course, in a country where most people aren't socialists, most people aren't far left progressives. Of course, a president isn't going to get a far left agenda pushed through. There's not enough votes for that. I don't know why liberals feel so entitled all the time to get everything that they want. This is what we have. If we didn't want Joe Biden, we shouldn't have elected Joe Biden. We had a chance to pick somebody else. We didn't. He's here. We had primaries. Nobody stepped up. We had Marianne Dumb Williamson and RFK, who isn't obviously a Republican and ran out now. We had chances, and maybe he'll still step down. But until then, isn't it on us to do everything we can not to get Donald Trump in office? This little pity party we're throwing for ourselves is doing nobody any favors. And if we lose to Donald Trump, the people that are doing this are just as culpable as Joe Biden.
A couple things. I disagree that we didn't have other people. There was the one.
Oh, brother, you're breaking up.
Yeah,
Sorry, name starts with a D.
We didn't
hear
the guy
what
with
you
the
just said.
politician.
Dean Phillips.
Oh, Dean Phillips. Yeah. There was Dean.
Yeah, he pulled.
There was Dean Phillips, who's actually a reasonable
1%.
option.
He was in the primary.
I recognize
Hold
he
on.
didn't.
People could have voted for him. He had his shot in the primary. Joe Biden cleaned up in the primaries. Joe Biden cleaned up in the primaries. Period.
Biden needed to step aside for somebody like him.
Dean Phillips is not the guy. If we have a candidate, it's not going to be Dean Phillips.
Well, had there not been
He
Biden,
was
and
on
had he
primary
stepped as-
ballots. That's what I'm saying. And this is the point, though. If Dean Phillips, if people were excited about him, they could have voted for him. And let's say he started like what Nikki Haley was doing, right? Like if Nikki Haley had a lot of excitement about her and she could have beat Biden, they should have ran Nikki Haley. This wouldn't even be a contest, right? And if Dean Phillips, if people were excited about him and had given him any votes, Marianne Williamson had dropped out of the race months before and was beating Dean Phillips.
The point being, Biden. I mean, would have been.
That is the point that I just made.
He should have stepped aside before the primaries so that somebody could have actually had a winning chance of taking. Obviously,
But
an
he
incumbent is not.
didn't.
No, incumbent is not going to be defeated when that's literally he's the president and is incumbent. Like that's.
So what's your plan?
So
what's your plan?
The point being is that we need to.
No, what's your plan? Are you just going to complain all the way to November if he doesn't step down?
No, we're literally right now.
No, I'm asking you, personally.
Yes,
what's your plan?
Right now is the time to complain. There's literally a small window in this next month. Like after that, there's no time for change. Like it's going to be ridiculous. But
Well, how
but
many
now is the
more
time.
weeks are you going to be doing this? Just so I know before it's going to be over. How
I'm
long?
just like you guys think that
No,
all
what's the
people that are
date
gonna
that you
vote-
will stop complaining? How many more weeks of this, or do we have it in front of us here?
I just want to say one thing. If Joe Biden is not the nominee, for all the people that are voting
with
for,
all due respect, we put a lot of time and effort into this, and this is our platform. And if we ask questions, please don't be disrespectful and say, fuck your question. I want to say what I want to say. If Lisa's asking you a question, just answer it.
I just answered it before she asked it. I said a month. I said there's a window.
Okay.
I said
So what's the date that we? So what's the date?
That's my own personal opinion. There's
Okay.
like a
So it's
month
just something you made
window.
up.
But before that, then there's only 90 days.
Why is there only a month-long window?
I mean, that's my personal opinion.
Okay, so you don't know.
My opinion.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. But
Gotcha.
the point I just want to make is that the people that are voting, you guys, me, myself included, I'm voting for a rock. Okay, I'm going to vote for.
Then tell people that. Then stop making your primary message
But
Joe
that's not the
fucking
who- but we
Biden
are not-
and
but
make
we
the
are not
primary
who-
message I would vote for a rock over Donald Trump. That's the message that we should be sending.
Should have led
That's
with
the,
that.
Like outwardly, that should be the message. I understand you're frustrated, and I get it. I'm just saying, like, if you care about outcomes, then you have to set your own personal feelings aside for sometimes. That has to happen sometimes.
But it's
if,
not
if
for
you
me.
really care about outcomes, the best thing we could possibly do is rally around Joe Biden. And still, maybe he'll step down, maybe he won't. Who knows? But the best chance we have at winning the election is rallying around Joe Biden right now. Imagine if instead of a bunch of whiny little birds, people came out and they were like, hey, you know what we're not going to do? We're not going to go after a guy who has a stutter and who is old. We're not going to do this ageism and ableism bullshit. What Joe Biden did on that stage was maybe tough to watch for a lot of people. But you know what else he did? He told the truth. That should have been the messaging from day one. But we are so soft and we're so afraid of what other people think that we just ran with, oh, Joe Biden's awful and he has to stand down. It's the most reactionary shit. How did you not watch him the next day when he was unbelievable and say to yourself, oh, it was just a bad night?
He was amazing.
I've watched
last
him
night.
speak. I've watched him speak 8 times since then. He's been great every time. And I'm supposed to
Hear a
just
word
keep
about
talking
it,
about
just
one
whining.
time?
The people that are going to be deciding this election are not the people like us, right? So they're not the ones that need to be convinced. So I get what you're saying.
So
like,
you should be helping us convince them. That's what we're saying.
I
You
agree.
are
I hear
arguing
that.
the other side's case right now.
No, but-
and according to you, for a whole month, you will be going around arguing for the other side.
No, if we did what you're saying, if we did, like, we would vote for Iraq, he's amazing, we're going to ignore everything that you just saw, you didn't just see that, guess who would be doing the argument that we're
Nobody
doing now?
said that. Wait, don't change
No one
the
said
argument.
that.
Have you heard anybody say that was not a bad performance or the joke? What we're
Absolutely,
saying
he
is
not.
you
I was exaggerating.
can mention in the same sentence that yes, I understand that was a bad night for Joe Biden. You can even say things like Joe Biden's not who he once was, but then you need to add to the messaging, I would vote for a rock over Donald Trump because of this, and this. Whatever your issues are that you're voting for Joe Biden for, include that in the conversation. That's all we're saying. We're not telling people to ignore what happened. We're not telling people to ignore the fact that Joe Biden
But then
is
we're
slipping.
leaving that can of fuel.
No, what we're saying is tell the whole story.
Somebody tried to overthrow the
but then
United
you leave
States
that can of fuel-
government. Do you understand that? That the guy running against Joe Biden tried to overthrow the United States government. Why don't you try to lead with that? Why don't you lead
I
with
get that.
he's a liar? That he's no, you don't. You truly, I promise you, you do not get it. Why don't you lead that women's bodily autonomy is in danger? All you are doing is talking about one night. And when we go into debates, we debate on facts, right? Data, statistics, and Joe Biden wins. Joe Biden's record, he wins. That's why I argue for him. If he didn't, I wouldn't argue for him. I go on facts and data, and Joe Biden wins. So that's why I'm on this side.
The reason that the Republicans are so quiet is because if we weren't the ones actually talking about this and we're all doing what you were doing, they would be the ones that are using that same fuel that we're now talking about. They would be using it, and it would be advantageous to them.
That's what you just said.
But here's the thing. Republicans are the same people who put up a person that millions of Americans are saying, I will vote for a rock. That's the thing. Like, that messaging from Republicans isn't powerful. It's not. They claimed Hillary Clinton had Parkinson's. They claimed in the first election that Joe Biden was too old. They've been saying it the whole time, and it didn't do anything. You know when Joe Biden's numbers started being hurt by this? When people like you started talking about it nonstop. The Republicans have been saying this. It's not effective. People have tuned them out. They recognize it's Donald Trump, a crazy person, versus Joe Biden, an old person. And that's all we're pointing out. This is fear. You are afraid that if you don't bring this up, they will and they'll win. And I'm telling you, nobody's listening to them. And you can take the moral high ground and you can help people feel good about voting for Joe Biden by acknowledging the things that happened, acknowledging where he's weak, and then explaining why you're still going to vote for him. We get to be the ones that are honest. If the Republicans are out there saying Joe Biden, like they say every time, Joe Biden doesn't even never know where he is. Nobody believes that because we've all seen him, know where he is. But if you have the nuanced discussion, if you're seen as somebody that's like, I recognize that wasn't great, I recognize there's problems, here's why I'm voting for him, that's the messaging that wins. And that's all I'm saying is like, it's okay to be worried. But if you're giving the messaging that they want you to give, that's why they're shutting up. Because nobody's being nuanced, because everybody's being alarmist just like them. And so it's more effective. They're shutting up because we're more effective at the way that they deliver messages right now.
You should say, hey, Joe Biden had a bad night, but since then, I've seen him give 5 speeches where he was on point. Like, it's making me think you haven't watched any of his full speeches.
I've watched his stuff. Even he still makes it's.
Why don't I hear you talking about any of that? It's very confusing.
It's honestly like along the whole time I didn't want Biden, so it's just reaffirming my own, sort of views that I had even long before.
He had one bad night, and he's let our economy out of the pandemic. #1 in the developed world.
No, I just never wanted
from the pandemic.
80-year-old.
We can't ask him to do any more than he's done. I mean, we can, and believe me, I'm left of AOC. Like, if you think that I support neoliberalism, you would be painfully wrong. I understand there's nuance to this situation, and I'm pointing it out.
I get that. I just know where I'm coming from. You're speaking to a Bernie supporter, right? So you're speaking to somebody that's like
feel the burn. Well, if you listen to Bernie, he was talking to Caitlin Collins 2 nights ago. You should listen to your guy, because he was talking about this and explaining why you shouldn't be doing exactly what you're doing right now. Look up Bernie Sanders, Caitlin Collins. 2 nights ago, he had this discussion with her.
Okay. I won't take any more of you guys' time, but I'll let you guys have other people.
Brother, thanks for coming up.
Yep.
We'll see it. All right, let me read some messages. Jen, if you want to get whoever's next.
Tap the screen.
We ended on Holly, I think. Make sure. Holly says, do Republicans forget that Trump is all over the Epstein files, or do they just not care?
Oh, that's such a great point. Exactly. We're about to elect a 3PDO. Like, nobody cares. And that's the other interesting thing. Remember, the reason this latest Epstein file dump came out is because Maga wanted to catch Joe Biden involved in these court documents, right? And Ron DeSantis, when he was running in the primary and spent $150 million in Iowa, wasted. This was one of his promises to MAGA if they would vote for him rather than Trump, that he would release these files so they could catch Joe Biden. And the only person in this election that's gotten caught is Donald Trump. And this is another point. Just like they don't care about women's bodily autonomy, they don't want to protect women and children. We see it over and over and over. And it's not just Donald Trump, it's the conservative party.
I agree. He says, please consider hosting live sessions on the Clapper app. It's widely used in southern states and among MAGA supporters. Your duo's patience and approach could be very effective, engaging and positively influencing this audience. Jesse, I'll check that out. I appreciate that suggestion. Hugo says, for better or worse, we're stuck with Biden. I will donate, implore others to, and rah-rah all day. But if he loses, the DNC is dead to me, especially if exit polling supports another candidate would have done better. Would you agree that he's being obtuse or worse or selfish? It's hard to know how accurate that polling is and if that will hold up. I don't know if I can make a judgment on that yet. John says, you guys, here's a joke. Where do bad rainbows go?
Bad rainbows? Damn it. Where?
To Prism, but it's a light sentence. But it's a light sentence, and it gives them time to reflect. Oh, that person gave up. That was the last one, and he left.
That was awesome, though. That joke was like 3 jokes.
Yeah. And then Kim says, if at first you don't succeed, then skydiving definitely isn't for you.
That's a good point. I want to say something just because someone in the comments asked me to. Yeah, it seems like people in the comments are confused that and are saying there were no weapons at January 6th. You can easily Google that. You could read court documents and find out that that's not true.
Yeah.
So, yes, there in fact were.
That one's not loading. Jen, we'll go to the next. Christina says, AOC introduced articles of impeachment for Alito and Thomas. I saw that right before we came live. I haven't read the whole story.
And that's another thing we're going to get to today. And Sheldon Whitehouse and, I can't remember who else. They're looking at an investigation into him. Yeah, and things are stepping up on Clarence Thomas. Thank God. Definitely. That's the
And
other thing. SCOTUS, not POTUS, right? Like that is the message. We're not vote. This is less about Joe Biden and more about if from Martha Ann Alito's own lips, right? If Trump gets in office, Samuel Alito's going to retire or untimely demise, whichever one. Clarence Thomas is past his life expectancy. We need to hold the presidency because we need to appoint justices.
hello, Lord Frederick. Welcome.
Yeah, good afternoon. How you doing today?
Good, man. How are you?
Lord Frederick.
Yeah, I'm great. I think there's one thing that's being left out of this whole conversation, and that is Biden has surrounded himself with a lot of smart, young, and honest advisors, something that Trump can't claim. And Biden doesn't have to be the smartest guy in the room if he's got all the smartest guys in the room with him. Right?
I agree. Jen's probably going to kick you at some point. I don't know if this is your first time here. We just take opposition on these, except for on Friday. So we would love to hear you guys' thoughts if you agree with us on Fridays, but just on normal days we're just taking opposition. So please come back.
From 12 to 1 Pacific Standard Time, we take friendlies, and so that is the time for that. Thank you, though. I agree, Lord Frederick, and I followed you before you left, so come back and see us.
Helldiver, welcome.
Hey, what's up? I'm
Hey.
25. My pronouns are she, them. Fleece, can I she them titties?
That's Maga.
I don't know.
There you have it.
There we
This
go.
is my life.
This is the internet. Jesus Christ. I am a little. Why didn't he ask me? That's unfair. I'm more likely to show. Who's
true.
this? I can't see the name. Lawrence James. Welcome.
Thanks. Yeah, definitely Trump is going to win. I think you guys are cooked. If you look at Arizona, Nevada, Georgia, they're already leaning Trump. Pennsylvania, it's going to go Trump.
How do you know that?
Well, have you seen the new Axios report that Nevada and
Axios?
Yeah, let me pull it up right
The
now.
pro-Trump publication? Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess the point is, I'm asking, like, are you just because the polls are favoring Trump right now, it's over? Is that what you're saying?
And also, it's not just that. There's one thing that Republicans have that you guys don't have, and it's one thing that you were talking about earlier. I think that you would agree that Republicans don't care about Trump being a felon, a pedophile, or a traitor. They care about policy.
You're right. Well,
No,
yeah.
I don't
I
agree
mean,
with
not
that.
about policy, but you're
Yeah.
right. Like what
No, they
Republicans
care
are
about-
really great at, like it's the Herschel Walker thing, right? I remember seeing, I can't remember her name, but a very popular podcaster, a MAGA podcaster, like basically explaining to her millions of followers why it doesn't matter that Herschel Walker, even though she literally was a pro-life activist that had paid for many abortions and all of these things, and was a domestic abuser and blah blah blah,
Doesn't
and all
matter.
the things that were coming out. Yeah, and she explained to her followers, like, it's not about that. We hold our noses and we vote. I do agree that
Yeah,
there's
and-
no extenuating circumstances for Republicans. There's no nuance. You guys vote in lockstep. Like, information does not matter.
I'd like to make 2 points about the Supreme Court, if you'll allow me before you let me go. One is that, sadly for women, there are not enough women that care about bodily autonomy. And so that's one disadvantage for you. The other thing is that the recent Roe v. Wade.
I don't. Wait. How are you saying that? Like every single state. Hold on. Every single state, including red states that have put abortion legislation on the ballot, it's passed. Even in red states, women are showing up and voting for this. I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
In
Okay.
Ohio.
I'll be proven right when Trump wins this time around, and you see how many.
No,
women
wait, but
vote.
hold on. But let's just instead of predicting the future so that you don't have to respond to something that happened, why don't you just respond to that? Like, if
Okay,
you're
let
so
me-
sure
let
of
me-
you're so sure of this, is this just like your feeling, or
No,
are you
yeah,
basing it?
this
Because
is,
based on data, that's incorrect.
Okay. I'll tell you what I'll base it on data that you can't refute. Do you really think that in those states, those red states, that they won pro-abortion on the ballot, do you think 100% of the women voted pro-choice for those?
No,
Okay,
no.
that's my only point. There
doesn't make
are
any
just
sense.
too
Wait,
many
but that
women.
doesn't make any sense. You said not enough women care, but it clearly enough
If
women care that they got those ballot initiatives passed.
but
So
not
it
enough.
appears that enough care.
No, I'm saying not enough. Okay, let me expand on it. I guess not enough. If more women care about bodily autonomy right now, Biden would be leading in a landslide because there are so many women voters.
I
No,
do.
that's
I understand what you're saying. I do think in a lot of ways, especially like white women, right, don't show up to vote for themselves. But in terms of since Roe v. Wade has been repealed, right, and what we have seen on ballots in terms of referendums, it does appear, right, that
And
women
that
do
is a
care,
huge
and not
threat.
just women, men as well. But like prior to Roe being overturned, I like the sentiment that you're making. I would tend to agree. Like I think there are a lot of women who voted who probably for religious reasons, like data has shown, have voted against their own self-interest in terms
Can I
of bodily autonomy. But
can
since
I make one
Roe,
last?
that doesn't seem to be the case.
Yeah. Can I make one last quick point, and then
Well,
you can?
could you do me what? No, because here's the thing that gets frustrating for me, and I'm just going to be honest about that. You let me speak, you're fine. You tried to cut off Felice every sec. Do you have any idea what she just said? Or are you just going to move on to your next point? I would love it if you would.
No,
Like, I'm tired of men showing up every single day and pretending that Felice isn't saying words. Like you're just about to move on. You tried to cut her off that whole time. You
no.
couldn't wait to speak.
She partially agreed with me. She said that it is a problem that not enough women
That's the
are.
part he heard.
A lot of white women vote against their own interests, just like in red states. I
And
would
then
say
what? And then what did she say after that?
after what?
After it's true what you're saying about a lot of white women, then what did she say?
And that was part of the reason why
But then what did she
she
say?
was agreeing
Yeah.
with me.
But then what did she say after that?
I don't know. Can you? I don't.
Yeah.
I can't memorize every
That's
single.
that's
thing.
what I'm saying. Like I'm tired of people coming up and Felice spends all this time like this is a woman explaining something to you about women and you're just like you checked the fuck out. You're just like, "Nah, I'm smarter than that."
I don't remember everything you said either. Are you a woman?
Well, then you
Would
might
you
be a bad
identify as
listener.
one?
Maybe you're just a bad listener in general then.
I
Yeah,
have to go to the
probably.
restroom.
If I can make one last point and you can
No,
cut me out and respond to it
no.
about SCOTUS,
I want
about
to.
the
No,
Supreme
I'm
Court.
not. I wasn't done with this. I'd like to stay on this. I'd like to stay
Okay.
on the fact that like women overwhelmingly have been showing up and voting, and you know what's been wrong every single time? The polls. And you know where they've leaned every single time? Right. Every single time we've had an election since 2016, the polls have leaned right and went the opposite way. So I
With
would
Hillary and
argue to
Trump?
I would argue to you that I'm not sure you know how polls are operating. If you get rid of bullshit polls like the ones that are clearly partisan and you focus only on the pollsters who are closest to getting it right and people who are using real scientific methods, then you would see that this is still neck and neck. If you go by the RCP polling average, which a lot of people do, that's why you see Trump with a big lead. But imagine, like in Wisconsin's a great example. Bloomberg Morning Consult, which is one of the most respected polls and one of the most accurate polls, has Biden +3. There's multiple Remington Research, which for some reason gets thrown in there. It's literally just a Republican group. Trump +6. Fabrizio Anzalone, ever heard of them? Trump +5. Right? That's why his averages are so high on RCP. But if you pull out the bad polling data and just put in good polls, it's neck and neck. It's not what you say it is. And this has happened in
No.
2016, it happened or 2020, 2022, 2023. This happens every single time. Republicans love answering polls for some reason, but they keep underperforming the polls. So why will this time be different?
Did the polls get it right with Trump and Hillary?
What do you mean by the polls? Did you not hear what I said? Most of
Yeah.
the polls suck.
Lean.
Most of them.
Yeah,
But if you
most of them
take
suck.
if you
So the
take
ones-
the 4 or 5 that are good, yeah, they were really close.
The ones that you quoted, Bloomberg and all those, they got it right with Trump and Hillary. I don't know. I'm asking you.
Nobody ever gets it right, but they were much closer to getting it right.
So then your argument is that there is not one poll out there that is really super reliable.
No, I said How the fuck did you get that from what I said? I said no poll gets it exactly right. How could they? That would be impossible. I don't know if you know how polling works. Like, unless they're polling millions of people, which they're not going to get it right. But they can be close to right.
Yeah, and lastly, I agree with you. Supreme Court's important. Those justices, they're important. So it's too bad that Ruth Bader Ginsburg cared more about her personal legacy than getting another liberal in there. And she held on too long.
Can I ask you a question about Republicans? When Republicans denied Merrick Garland on the Supreme Court, even though Obama had every right to nominate him, and they said, well, it's an election year, and the Democrats are like, this has never happened. And then the Republicans said, hey, if it was reversed, we'd do the same thing. And then the reverse actually happened, and the Republicans didn't do that.
Yeah,
what do you think about that? So we're going to talk about Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who doesn't know when she's going to pass away, but you don't want to blame you don't want to blame the stolen one.
Well, I wouldn't say it's stolen, man. I think that the Democrats.
I would.
The Democrats.
When else has that happened? What other time in history has that happened?
Because the Democrats were naive enough to trust.
What other time in history has that happened?
Never that I know of. Because the Democrats are
and
naive.
That's why, right?
Is it our fault? Democrats are naive.
Well, no. Well, this is the thing. It's like you're like the person. You're like the person who sees a convenience store get robbed, and you're like, yeah, well, they should have been better.
That's a false analogy.
No, it's exactly the same, because you're saying, oh, well, Democrats should have known that Republicans were going to play dirty tricks.
They didn't break the law. Republicans didn't break the law.
Did I say break the law, sir?
Yes, you did.
Or did I just say dirty tricks?
Store. When you said robbing a convenience store, you're comparing
well, that's
it to breaking the law.
Yeah, I'm talking about blaming people, blaming the perpetrator.
Well, then use a better analogy, brother.
Oh, shut up. That's so stupid. That was a great analogy.
You're
blaming Democrats for Republicans being dirty. And it's weird because you're a Republican. No, it's not politics. That's not politics. That's not politics. It's fine. Listen, if you want to support it. But I'm not going to sit here and have you tell me that the people who lie to us, we should have seen it coming, and not blame the people that lie.
When have Republicans ever been truthful to the Democrats? Come on. It's politics.
Anything else you want to talk about? Anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, that's it for me, man. Blame Ginsburg. It's not us. It's Ginsburg.
It's Ginsburg, you goddamn
whatever.
potato.
She doesn't deserve it.
She doesn't deserve it. She's not alive, you idiot. Goddamn. It's just like that is the MAGA man. That's like a slightly more articulate Snuggles. Just like bounce from point to point, victim blame.
That
don't
is
take accountability.
mean. Thank you for the gifts.
Grillo, welcome.
Hey, sorry guys, I had a call.
You just scared me. I wasn't looking at the profile. You just
I
had a heart attack.
Yeah. What's up?
Nothing, man. Hey, you guys got it popping, man. I like the way you are.
Oh, you're gonna just a heads up. Jen's gonna kick you real soon if you're not opposition. We gotta.
Well, first of all, I'm kind of opposition, kind of not.
Okay.
I'm kind of like with Biden. I mean, basically, he probably does need to be escorted on down the path, but he's got a whole administration helping him run the country. You know, we can get him later, you know, but right now we need to rally around. We need to rally around who.
There it was. I was waiting for that. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I agree with you, but just remember, please, guys, like our platform is that we're taking opposition. I know everybody wants to be involved, but this is what we do. On Friday from 12 to 1 Pacific time, we take friendly calls. So please feel free to come back then, and we'll talk about it. What does it say? Mr. Jekyll's Hyde.
Did you hear a cat? I heard a cat.
I did. Mr. Jekyll's Hyde, are you there?
Oh. Yeah. I'm sorry, my cat was going off. She's kind of pissed off at me, but it's all good.
I hope you guys figure it out. I hope you can work through this.
Oh yeah, I'm sure we will. Anyway, so what's the topic? I'm opposition, so what's the topic?
I have no idea, brother. Normally people have something to talk about. I don't know. We don't really pick a topic that way.
Well, your background's kind of misleading. That's the reason why I asked before.
Oh, so. What do you mean it's misleading?
MAGA to Russia with love.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's start there.
Okay. Well, almost every MAGA we've had up today has defended Russia. Russia just got caught with a Twitter bot farm pushing pro-Trump, pro-Putin propaganda. Donald Trump seems to do whatever Vladimir Putin says. Republicans want to pull out of NATO and just allow Vladimir Putin to take over Ukraine. It does feel like Republicans are far more friendly to Russia than they are to any of our allies.
By chance, do you know who our allies are?
Well, we could start with NATO. Everybody in
Yeah,
NATO
I'm
is
not,
our
I'm not,
ally.
right, yeah, excluding NATO alliances. So I'm talking about allies, not necessarily one collective
Why? Wait,
entity.
why
Yeah,
are
the
those
North
not
Atlantic
allies?
Treaty. Yeah, those are allies.
Well, no. And I'm aware of that. But see, the thing about Trump is he wanted to pull NATO out. Or let me rephrase that. He wanted to charge NATO so much they did not want, so he was actually going to pull out of NATO. So
That's not what happened.
that's
Yeah, and
exactly
we
what
don't
happened.
charge.
It's
We don't
not.
charge
That's exactly
NATO.
what
You don't.
happened.
You're wrong with
You
the
go back.
first.
No, I'm not. Google
Okay,
it if
well,
you don't
how?
believe me.
Brother,
Google it if you don't
how
believe me.
about stop talking for a second and let Felice explain it
Yeah, no.
instead of immediately knee jerk not letting somebody respond? Why don't you let Felice explain it?
Or you can explain it to me. How does NATO pool money? How do we charge NATO? You said we charge
Sure.
NATO. How does that work?
Sure, the collective NATO states that they are over, they reside over. I can't remember exactly right off the top of my head. They get a percentage that we pay them to watch over the allies.
That is ungodly wrong, sir. You
Is it
have
really?
no
Okay, so
idea
then
what
okay,
you're
okay, hold
talking
on,
about.
hold on.
God, it's like the least informed people on this earth.
That's not even close. That's
Is it
not
not?
even close,
Again,
dude.
explain to me again. Explain to me instead of laughing, which are bullshit.
Oh,
Fact
cry
check
about
me.
it.
Fact
Dude,
check
you
me.
told us we
Fact
didn't know
check
what
me,
we were
dude.
talking about, and then you came with that. Of course I'm going to laugh at you. Like, deal
Okay,
with
so
it.
then explain to me then why was that such a big damn issue in
Because you guys just
2019?
because
Hold on, in
believe what Trump
2019.
says. That's
Are you
why.
freaking kidding me?
Okay, so here's how NATO
In
works. It's a
2019, that was one of
okay.
Biden's talking points.
What was?
Trump was charging NATO.
No.
Yes.
Oh my! Well, that's
getting
never
worse.
how it's worked. That's never how it's worked, and it's never
Okay.
happened that way in history. So I doubt that was happening, sir.
So if you're one of the NATO countries, we have a collective pool of money that we use, and it's 2% of your GDP, right? So countries with a bigger GDP are going to pay more than countries with a smaller GDP, which makes sense. The countries with the most people and the most money are going to pay the most. That makes absolute sense. That's what happened. Now, Trump went in and Trump said, like, here's what he did do. He said that he didn't believe that people were paying their full 2%, and he put pressure on people basically to make sure that they were paying the full 2%. But he's not charging them. The United States doesn't charge anybody. This is an alliance where we all do 2% of GDP.
You reinvest it back into your military, just to be clear, the 2%.
You're muted, bud.
Okay, yeah, I'm hearing claims. I'm not actually hearing like cited sources, factual information.
Oh no,
I'm
okay.
hearing a
Well,
bunch
I'll
of
cite
claims.
this. I'll cite the source. But while we're doing that, I'd like to point out that you have made a lot of claims and you have not cited a single source. So while I pull this
I
source up
just
for
told
you,
you, 2019, that was one of Biden's talking points.
No,
Stuff.
do you
that's
know
not
what
a
a source is?
That's just you saying
Oh
something.
no.
What's the source of
Again,
that?
CNN.
So this is from
You gotta
NATO.
give us the website so we can look it up.
This is from
That's how sources work.
NATO.int. This is the official NATO website. And reading exactly, the 2% of GDP guideline is an important indicator of the political resolve of individual allies to contribute to NATO's common defense efforts. In 2024, 23 allies are expected to meet or exceed the target of investing at least 2% of GDP in defense, compared to only 3 allies in 2014. So there were 3 that were doing it, now 23. So that's pretty good, and that's under Joe Biden.
So they don't pay us. Just to be clear, you reinvest into your own defense, into your own military.
You still there, Mr. Jekyll's Hyde?
Mr. Jekyll's Hyde. I actually like that name.
I do too. Yeah. Just looking something up. Just remember, it's fine if you're looking something up. Just remember that if you're looking it up, if you're off the TikTok screen, we can't hear you if you're speaking. Just a reminder. So it's fine if you need to take your time finding that. But hopefully now we know what a source is.
Tap the screen, everyone. Tap the screen. Tap, tap, tap.
I'll check comments real quick while we're waiting. There, go over here.
Oh, he's gone. That's shocking.
Yeah, it's weird how they leave when you want a source almost every time.
But again, yeah, Trump makes it seem like NATO is a protection racket because that's what Trump knows, right? Our basic like mafia protection rackets. We're not being paid by other countries.
Picture me this. Welcome.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. We'll see you later. Carolyn says, please keep doing what you're doing. Also, other women shouldn't dictate what other women do to their bodies. I agree with that. Jason,
and I don't want to dictate what any woman does to their body. If you're pro-life and you don't want an abortion, the great news is you don't have to get one.
What's up, Jason?
Hey, what's up? Hey, I had a quick question.
Sure.
So you were talking about GDP.
Yeah.
So is that 2%? Is that included in our around $800 billion defense budget?
I don't know the answer to that question, actually. Let me
I was just kind of curious. You said
yeah,
I
like
didn't know
as long the thing is that yeah, we invest more than 2%, right? Like of our what is our gross domestic product? I bet we personally as a country invest more.
Yeah, I was wondering if it's 2% plus or normal 800 billion, whatever our defense
No,
budget is.
I mean, the requirements are just every country because, you know, let's be honest, the United States is pretty much a lot of these NATO countries sort of standing military. But that is the requirement to be in NATO, that you invest 2% of your gross domestic product minimum in your defense, in your own defense.
Right.
Yeah,
so I'm sure we probably invest more.
I don't.
Be honest. It's obscene.
Yeah, it looks like yes, it's included in defense spending. I don't. Just from stuff I'm reading, I don't have
any defense spending
official
counts
source
as
for
the
that.
2%. It's just other countries don't have, you know, standing militaries like ours.
Gotcha.
Right.
All right.
Well,
Anything
cool.
else?
Who are you guys voting for?
Biden. What about you?
I'll probably vote for Biden, I guess. I twist
There
my
you go.
arm.
Good.
There you go, Jason. I know it's not your favorite, but hold your nose and vote.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Thanks. I have long-time lurker. Just real quick, just make sure you're opposition. If not, Jen will boot you quick. Long-time lurker, welcome.
Long time lurker. That's a good name.
Maybe not welcome.
Depends. Are you outside the bushes of my house, or where are you lurking?
That's a good point.
Because that makes a difference.
Brian says Democrats fall in love, Republicans fall in line. You guys do a great job. Keep at it.
That's a great point. That's what that gentleman that was up like 3 people ago was saying. I think, and that is the point. Like that can be useful, right? Like you tell Republicans this is the plan. They don't ask any questions. It is the problem with Democrats. It's like herding cats because we're all individual thinkers, right? We have our own ideas, our own minds, and we're sort of loosely held together by ideals. But like Republicans is just like, here's what you think. Here's what we think today. Get in line and get on the messaging.
You're going to have a lot of that tonight. If you think this morning was bad, wait till you get to Jeff's tonight. These were the best debate. These would have been the best people that we had on Jeff's live. Tracy says, Jay, can I see them titties? Maybe. Arden says the rainbow joke was read as I was writing it to y'all. Love y'all. Oh, thank you. Love you too. I think
someone else was writing it. Is that someone else?
I assume that's what they meant.
That's a good joke. That's a good one. That's like 3 for 1. Dirty Harry.
Hello.
What's up, Dirty Harry?
How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
All right. Listen, we got to straighten out some of your nonsense.
Yeah, let's go
for
it. All right.
Where should we start?
Well,
the
it's
Ukraine...
hard for me to. Oh.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll let you go.
Oh, it's hard for. I was just gonna say hard for me to know. I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Well, I'm talking about a lot of things, but I'll start off with the Ukraine.
Okay.
All right. The Ukraine,
It's Ukraine, not the. It was the
whatever
Ukraine
it is,
when Ukraine
it's
was part of the USSR. That's why it was the Ukraine. It was a region inside of the USSR. It is now an individual country called Ukraine.
that's true. That's true. I'm from the New York, but it's New York. I'll agree with you on that. But
And I like your accent. I
thank
used to
you
live
very
in
much.
Manhattan.
How you
I'm a
doing?
fan
How
of
you
New
do-
Yorkers.
What's that?
I'm a
What'd you
fan
say?
of New Yorkers, like the no BS, like tell it like it is. Like I
Well,
wish
yeah,
we
you
could
know,
all just say everything on our minds.
I'm a little bit older than you guys, so I don't give, I speak my mind. I always did. That's just how I am. So you know where you stand when you're talking to me. That's a good thing. But sometimes people will get pissed off, but I don't really care, Anyway, Ukraine. Ukraine is one of the most corrupt countries on the planet. And I'm not talking about people. I'm talking about the government.
Okay.
Okay. Ukraine is corrupt. That's
so we
why
should let
Russia went
Russia
in.
invade them.
That's why Russia went in there, because Russia, and this was actually on the news, but only for you're laughing, but let me finish. It's not funny. It's really not funny.
It's pretty
You wanna
funny.
laugh- You want to laugh?
honestly.
That's fine, but it's not funny.
All right.
Russia, it was on the news for about 30 seconds, and I've been following this stuff for 6 years. Okay, so I kind of know a lot of stuff that's
Putin's
going on.
propaganda, yes.
Well, the stuff you could be saying is propaganda. I could say the same thing. Okay, so let's
but
just.
you'd
let me
be,
just
but
tell
you'd
you-
be wrong.
Well, I could say the same thing with that too.
I just want to point out that I think that no matter what Ukraine has done, Russia has no right to invade their country. None.
Well, let me tell you why, and how corrupt this government is.
Yeah, tell me about
Working
it.
with they already blew out 17 biolabs in that country. Okay, biolabs where they make viruses.
We
What's
have
wrong?
biolabs. What's wrong with biolabs?
Biolabs, because
What's wrong with them?
all these viruses are all man-made.
Which one? Oh God.
All
oh
of them.
God. This
You
is
wanna
worse than
start
I
with
thought.
AIDS? You
Yeah,
want to
brother,
start
look.
with this
All right,
patent
brother,
number?
We're
I
not
gotta mute-
spreading.
yeah,
we
look,
can't
brother.
spread. You can't spread disinformation because
You,
we'll
you
be
can't
banned
come up and
from
say
the internet.
insane things on our live, or we'll get taken down. Can we talk about something else, please? Sorry, I muted you, Harry, just to protect ourselves. Like, obviously, we're
We
not going
can't
to do
spread
that.
medical disinformation.
Harry, you're muted. I'll send you an invite to unmute, but that's not what we're going to do. All right.
Can you hear me now?
This is the issue.
Yeah.
Like when we talk about sovereignty of countries, right? I can
Right.
make a very strong case that the United States is the most corrupt country in the world. And I think I could win that debate. I could. But what we are is a sovereign nation. So as a sovereign nation that is recognized by other sovereign nations, even though there is corruption, the likes of which has never been seen. We are literally the number one arms dealer in the world that arms both sides of conflicts, committing atrocities all around the world. We are still a sovereign nation that no one has the right to invade. It's about sovereignty.
No,
right?
it's about getting rid of.
And
It's
so,
about getting
well,
rid of
you're saying
corruption.
if
That's
you're
what it's
now,
about.
but I'm saying you're making an argument that if we make an argument as a country that any other country is corrupt, which we could, right? We could look, corruption exists inside of every country. And if we arbitrarily target a country and say, oh, we found corruption here, then we have the right to invade a sovereign nation, which would give other people in turn the right to invade
Well-
our sovereign nation based on the war crimes and other atrocities we've committed. And that's why we recognize the sovereignty of nations, despite corruption existing inside every country.
Well, you see, this is what I'm going to say to that. Okay, I'm not talking about a couple of people. I'm talking about governments. Corrupt
That's what I'm
across
talking about with the United
the
States.
the corruption across the board.
So let
And
me
with these-
hold
with
on real
these
quick.
people,
I
with
just need to
these-
cover something real fast here.
ahead,
This
go
is in March of 2022. During the Russian invasion of Ukraine, Russian officials falsely claimed that public health facilities in Ukraine were secret U.S.-funded biolabs purportedly developing biological weapons. This was
Thank you.
debunked as disinformation by multiple media outlets, which I could list for you in a sec if you want me to, scientific groups, and international bodies. The claim was amplified by China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Chinese state propaganda media, and was also promoted by the followers of the QAnon conspiracy theory and subsequently supported by other far-right groups in the United States. Russian scientists inside and outside of Russia have publicly accused the Russian government of lying about evidence for covert bioweapon labs in Ukraine, saying that the documents presented by Russia's defense ministry describe pathogens collected for public health research. The bioweapons lab claim has also been denied by the United States, Ukraine, and the United Nations, and the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists.
All right. First of all,
so I think maybe that was misinformation.
You're reading what you're reading is.
I have sources. Do you want me to give you the sources on them? What were your sources?
Well, let me just say
your
this
source was I saw something on the news. I can give you real sources, and I named some of the sources.
That's just something that was out there for everybody.
But I just named a bunch of sources. What are your sources?
My sources is the stuff I've been reading and listening to for the last 6 years.
What stuff have you been reading?
A lot of stuff on social media. A lot of people I listen to, military, ex-military.
You got got.
Yeah, but
what is Q level clearance?
I have no idea.
You've never heard of Q level clearance?
I've heard of it, but I don't know what it is. That's like I'm not part of the military with those guys, so I have no idea.
Gotcha. Did they ever figure out who Q was?
I think Q is a group of military top military guys.
All right. Have a good day.
That's what I keep.
And obviously we know what that was, right? But the problem is that is the argument for sovereignty, though, right? We could look at any country, find corruption, or any country could look at us, God knows, the laundry list of corruption that the United States has produced, right? And say that there's a case to be made for us being invaded.
Yeah, my phone died.
It's Mr. Jekyll's Hyde.
Yeah, my phone died. Yeah.
You good?
Yeah. So, anyways, back to the NATO ordeal.
Doesn't miss a beat.
Yeah. No. Not. Yeah. Well, I don't go. I don't go without. Yeah. It really is. So, I misspoke. It was a 2018. It wasn't 2019. And the talking point is, which is, I'm going to read it to you.
Tell us where the website is, and we'll look it up.
CNN.com.
Yeah, but what's the name of the article, sir? So we could look up the article.
Trump, NATO, U.S. withdrawal.
Trump,
NATO.
Great.
Go ahead and read the part you wanted.
Yes, last July, which would be 2017, around the time contentious NATO summit meeting, Trump told his national security officials he didn't see the point of NATO and thought the alliance was to drain on the U.S., the Times said. So therefore, my position was correct. Trump wanted to pull out of NATO.
That's what I said.
No, but you said that Biden.
You
said that Biden.
Again,
I thought you said Biden
did you not hear
too. That's what I thought.
No.
None of us would have disagreed. None of us would have disagreed with that. We all know Trump wanted out of NATO. We disagree. We think
because
that was stupid.
Because they wasn't paying their fair share.
Well, that's what.
My
No,
point.
but
that was the whole talking point.
But here's the problem, Mr. Jekyll's Hyde. With all due respect, your source is not saying that they weren't paying their fair share. Your source is saying that Trump says they weren't. See how that's not a source? Like you see what I mean?
The source is CNN.
Read it again.
Who is quoting it.
No, that's not the source. The source is
the CNN.
No.
States
CNN.
Right here.
Hold on,
quoting,
my friend.
They're quoting Times. They're quoting New York Times.
My friend.
They're quoting New York Times.
My friend.
I'm not your friend.
Okay, well then, I don't know.
And everyone says you did say it was Biden. Thank you. I'm not crazy.
He did say Biden said it. But the point is that if you read that again, you would see that they are.
You got cooked. Admit it. You got cooked. Admit it.
Yeah, sure. That's what it was.
No. And
that again, what you will see is that they are quoting. If you honestly think you made a good, like if you think that you just won that debate, like all right,
it's okay. Listen, let me just explain to you why you're incorrect, sir. The problem is that you came up here and you said that NATO was paying the United States money, and then we explained to you that you were incorrect. You don't even understand how NATO pools money.
No, I said NATO.
Listen,
I did not say
the job of countries is to reinvest in their own gross domestic product. And you said that people weren't paying the United States military money for protection. And that is what we were correcting.
You're muted, sir.
Yeah, you didn't correct anything because what I was saying is NATO in the beginning,
Well, we
NATO was
post
not paying their
these
fair share.
after,
That
so
was
you
the whole
can.
point.
Can you read
It's
it again?
irrelevant
Can
what
you
you
read the
do.
quote again, please?
I can read it. I have it up. He said, last July, around the time of a contentious NATO summit meeting, Trump told his national security officials he didn't see the point of NATO and thought the alliance was a drain on the U.S., the Times said.
So the source here is who? Who is the source, Felice?
The Times.
No, who's the
The
source of the
Times.
quote? Of the quote.
The
It's
Times.
Trump, right? No.
No.
To Times
Trump
didn't say the
Last
quote.
July,
Oh
around
my
the
God.
time of a contentious
You
NATO
understand
summit
what a
meeting,
quote
Trump
is, right?
told his national
You
security
understand what the
advisors.
quote is, right?
We're talking about
You
sources. So,
If I say something,
oh my God.
that means that you
You
quote
don't
me. That is the
understand what
quote.
we're even talking
yes.
about,
So the
sir.
quote here is Donald
It's not by
Trump's.
Trump. It's the Times
Shush,
quoting
shush,
Trump.
shush. Yes, that's what I'm saying. So this
No,
is
that's not
just
what you're saying.
shush. Yes, it is. And if you be
No,
quiet long enough, if you shut up long enough, you'll hear why this is what I'm saying. This is not evidence. This is Donald Trump
It is.
saying what he believes. This is not factual. In fact, it even says Donald Trump believed. This is not a source. This is not a source of
It says
data.
he
This is
thought.
just Donald Trump's thoughts.
He
Somebody
thought.
is quoting Donald Trump's thoughts. And you came
He's
up
what?
here and you started
He's
saying
what?
cooked
He's what?
over and over
He's
again.
what? He's being quoted by the Times.
No, you're not
That's
getting
what's
it.
going
It's
on.
not a
You
quote.
don't
If
quote.
hey,
You can't
if
quote
there's
yourself
a quote, there has
unless
to
if
be
you're
quotation
implementing
marks.
a quote.
Hey, if there's a quote, there has to be quotation marks.
And
You
you're
don't even
cooked.
understand what a
You're-
quote is. It says security. He didn't see the point
What
of
a
NATO
clown, dude.
and thought the alliance was a drain on the U.S. Times. It's not even a quote.
Clown.
Not
Clown.
one thing you've said today has been correct.
You're doing
you
great,
didn't even
bud.
understand how NATO pools money.
Yes.
This is
All
not
right.
the hill to die on, sir. That's what
We
we're trying
pay-
to
we
tell
pay
you.
I'll give you the
This is-
I'll give you
this
the
is
last word,
embarrassing.
Mr. Jekyll's Hyde. You can have the last word. You're muted.
Just a single word or just a
No, you can say whatever you want.
sure. Okay.
Of course, I'm not going to let you do that. Cooked. This is just preparing you for tonight. This is exactly what you're going to deal with tonight. So dumb. Let's see. I see Lawrence Jams. We did that already. City worker report.
How are you doing, host?
Hey, welcome.
I'm not ashamed. Maybe I'm gonna get attacked. I'm sure from in the comments. I'm Latino and I like Biden. I don't know if that's a problem because I'm Latino. I mean, I like Biden to get the fuck out because I'm voting for Donald J. Trump, sir. That's correct. Prove me wrong. Who has the worst border in U.S. history? Say it for the people in the back. Who?
Donald Trump.
Biden?
Donald
What was
Trump.
that? Biden?
No, I
Who-
said Donald
who
Trump.
lost 7 embassies?
All right.
Who was it?
So here's what we're gonna do, sir. If you're gonna ask questions,
all
you need us. You got to let us answer. Okay, you're muted right now, but you can come back. Do you want to go one by one, sir? Do you want to have a conversation?
That's correct. Who lost 7
Okay.
embassies?
No,
Who was
wait.
it?
Oh, wait.
Who was
So you're
it?
just not. So you're just not gonna do what I asked? We can go one by one. We can go issue by issue if you'd like, or you can leave. Those are your two options.
Fuck
one would
you,
you- which-
liberals. I'm Latino and I'm voting for Trump. That's right.
You're also dumb, so who cares? By the way, we did that. This is going to come up tonight, and if you guys hear it, like the embassies thing, Joe Biden pulled people out of embassies in countries where there was like internal problems, and they were worried about violence. So he pulled people out so that they were not unalived and caught in the crosshairs, and that has somehow turned into like a new MAGA talking point. I don't I don't know why.
Which
This
is a
happens all the
normal,
time.
well, yeah, which is a normal thing to do. We have embassies around the world, and when there's unrest in certain countries and it becomes dangerous for our diplomats to be there, then we pull them back.
I'm old enough to remember Hillary Clinton being grilled in front of Congress for 18 hours for not getting somebody out of the embassy in time. So I don't like you don't get both
Well,
positions.
exactly. And then we'd be back at Benghazi. If he didn't pull them back and something happened to those people, then we'd be in Benghazi hearings for the rest of our lives. It
Yeah.
makes no sense. Like, he's being prudent. He's a good leader.
When somebody said like the what was it, Republic or Democrats fall in love, Republicans fall in line, this is what we're talking about. Like
Exactly.
nothing,
Makes no sense.
almost everything that you guys claim to care about, either Joe Biden's better at, or or you guys are on both sides of that position. None of you seem to have a clue what you believe. That's why we say it's a cult of personality.
And this is the thing, like, when I hear information, I then analyze it and I think, what does this mean? And usually I'll look at, someone will tell me something happened, and I'll read like 3 different articles, one from a right-wing source, one from a left source, and usually even a third, just to get a full picture of what I think happened. You guys just heard, oh, Joe Biden lost some embassies? And then you just repeat it. No critical thinking about that. What could that mean? Is he doing the right thing? Because that's exactly what happened in the situation of Benghazi. He didn't pull the people in the embassy out. Something happened. You know when that also happened? When 110 military officers had traumatic brain injuries. And then Trump lied and said they had headaches. He should have pulled that. And they were warned in advance that that was going to happen. And instead, Trump did nothing. Remember?
Yeah, I remember that. Cindy says, "Is it me or is MAGA getting worse?" It feels worse lately, honestly. Like it feels like nothing but craziness. Marty says, "Buddy really charged his phone to come back and yell cooked."
I do
Mel
like that, but
says,
cooked isn't funny. Like, he should have been like, "You're done like dinner," or something else.
better.
Like, cooked is old. We've done that.
Mel says, "Thanks, y'all. Thank you." Don says, "Name is Don for days on TikTok. Just wanted to ask, can we talk about the Trump's Epstein case on an upcoming show? Also love you both. Thanks for putting up with the MAGA nations of the right." I like that.
Well, that
Don,
is good. Like machinations. I like that.
I mean, I think we should talk about
We
it.
did talk about it.
Yeah, we just have to be really careful
We
with it.
spent a whole day on it. So just in case, if you're under the impression here we did not cover the Epstein stuff, we did do last week a show on it.
And I did put up a video about it that immediately, within 2 minutes, was taken down, and I got a strike. So I'm a little nervous about it. This is Big D. Nice.
Big D.
You there? Big D? Sorry, I was reading. Did you remind people that we have the replays on YouTube if they want to go back and watch that?
No, I think I said it. I was trying to say it to that Mr. Jekyll's Hyde, but he was just yelling, "You're cooked." Guys, keep tapping the screen. This is our Venmo and Cash App. We do rely on your donations and tips to keep our research and our show going. If you would like to donate, we will read whatever comment, question, concern, dad joke you have for us out loud on the show, as long as we won't get banned.
Somebody said, "Who's gonna rewatch this?" No shade. Hundreds of people every day. I don't know. If you want to rewatch it, rewatch it. If this is your
shade.
thing. There's a lot of people
100% shade, by the way.
Yeah, there's a lot of people working right now, and they can't always catch the whole thing. So a lot of people watch it.
You'd be surprised.
But thank you for the shade. Logan, you're welcome to come up and tell us about it if you'd like. I like when people say something like meant to be rude and then they get a response and then they're like, "I struck a nerve." I don't care. Honestly, I have no idea how many people watch the replays. I don't keep super close track of those numbers.
Do you want, yeah, there's 2,000 people that watch the show live. So, I mean, it would stand to reason if you bear that out that people also would watch the replay. All right.
Well, here's your friend.
That scared me for a second because it didn't load for me and I just saw.
Hi, Dell.
Hey, did you see the Ducey question in the press conference that Karine KJP, is her name KJP?
Corinne Jean-Pierre. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Did you
are
see
you
the
if you're are you
question
talking
he
about the
gave her?
Parkinson's disease gate?
No. Did you see the question he asked her?
Which time?
I saw the most disrespectful treatment from the press corps of African American woman I've ever seen in my
So
life.
the question
Yes.
the question he asked her was, he said,
If we're
okay,
talking about the same press conference, because you haven't said what the press. Are you talking about the questions about the neurologist that had logged
no,
in the White
no,
House logs? Okay.
no. I'll just tell you the question. So he asked her if Biden is sharp before 8, right? And then there's a nuke that comes in at 11, right? Who do they call? Do they call Jill? Right?
Oh my God, Dale.
And then
Dale,
he
do you
followed
understand?
that up
Dale,
with,
no. Okay, well, I'm done with this
she
question.
didn't
No,
answer it.
I'm done with this question already. Joe Biden said he is not going to schedule events after 8 p.m.
No,
He did
just let
not
me tell
say.
you the
Be
question.
quiet. Be quiet. He did not say, "I'm not working after 8 p.m." You can pull the quote yourself, and this is why Peter Ducey is a laughing stock, because he just does he just is up there for clickbait. Of course, she can't answer that question. It's not a real thing. Joe Biden has never said, "I'm not working after 8." He said, "I'm not scheduling events," which are like campaign events or dinners or fundraisers. You know, this stuff he doesn't have to do as president.
Okay, so then
Okay, so David, so do you understand? I want to stay on this. David, do you understand
Can I finish
then
this
that
question?
Dale, whatever, David, I just want to make sure you understand, because that was his actual quote. You recognize that Peter Ducey is just trying to poke the bear, right? He's asking shitty questions.
Okay,
On
let me finish
purpose,
this question.
No, I'm asking you this question.
I
And
don't
after
care.
you answer me,
I'll read
All of
the
a sudden you're
question. I
getting
looked it
all-
up.
Why
I
are
looked
you
it up.
getting so excited? I
Dale,
just wanted
after
to
you
give you the
answer me,
question.
Dale, nobody gives a shit. After you answer my question, then you can move on. Is that fair?
Sure.
Okay,
I'll
great.
read
So
the
do you?
question. It's
Thank you.
well. He also says he's sharpest before 8 p.m. This is Peter Ducey speaking at a presser. Well, he also says he's sharpest before 8 p.m. So say the Pentagon at some point picks up an incoming nuke. It's 11 p.m. Who do you call? The First Lady? Ducey asked. What's the
Keep
point?
going. And he finished it with
Okay,
another
but wait.
word.
So now that we know that was his question,
Finish the question.
be quiet, Dale.
Jean-Pierre told Ducey the president has a team to let him know of any news that is, quote, pertinent and important to the American people. She also said Biden has someone he appointed to get the news from the National Security Council should that scenario ever happen.
So now that we got that out, I want to point out that Peter Ducey took a quote completely out of context and tried to do a gotcha question. And my question to you is, Dale, why didn't that register to you that this was a bullshit gotcha question? Why did you think that it would be a good idea for you to come up here and bring that up? Is it possible, Dale, that you don't know what you're talking about and you just react to clips that you've seen?
Are you mad?
Are you not going to answer the question, Dale?
I don't know what I'm talking about. Does that
Okay,
make you feel
great.
better?
Yes.
Okay.
Have a good
then
day,
he
Dale.
Finished it.
No
And
patience for Dale.
I'll just do this for Dale, because Dale doesn't take anything seriously. That's because he's not allowed to vote because Joe Biden was convicted of 34 felonies. Remember that? And that he made that bet? No, so Ducey asked, so this is after the part I read. So Ducey asked Jean-Pierre if Joe Biden was making decisions or advising the president while attending the meetings. She replies, no, the president is, quote, no, the president is the president of the United States. He makes decisions, end quote. The questioning came after Ducey asked Jean-Pierre if the president was committed to serving a full second term if elected. The press secretary answered yes. The correspondent then told Jean-Pierre the president said his health is fine, but, quote, it's just his brain and that he's as sharp as before, which, by the way, was a joke, right? That's a joke Biden made during one of his press conferences. And then the press secretary quickly jumped in to tell Ducey that Biden was joking to set the record straight. And Ducey said, what's the joke? Before being told by Jean-Pierre that Biden was making, quote, a lighthearted joke. And Ducey said, what's the joke? That he has a problem with his brain, Ducey asked. And then she said he was speaking off the cuff and making a joke, Jean-Pierre said. You know the president. He likes to joke a lot. He's the same guy who says, I know I look 40, right? So he likes to make jokes, end quote. Cool, Dale.
Perfect. Welcome, bald-headed eagle.
Good afternoon. Have you guys ever seen the show Suits?
Yes, every episode.
What does Mike Ross and Mother of Dragons have in common? Neither one of them has a law degree.
Oh, I just got that. I
I was
literally
thinking
just got
Game
that
of
joke.
Thrones for a second.
Yeah, I didn't get it for a second. I just got it. Who is this? I didn't know. I do not laugh at that. I do not endorse that joke. I think it's rude. And I
Yeah, I
think,
don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I don't
That
either.
that person has said so much shit about me that's a lie. I don't care. You guys
That
can rip
person
her all
that
you
just
want.
came up. Oh no, you're
No.
okay. I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah.
a little behind on what's going on. I'm a little ill.
Yeah, it took me a minute. That I was like, well,
I'm
like,
literally in real time catching up to what just happened.
Hi guys.
Hey. What is going
Are
on?
people okay? We don't need to be worried about Biden. I'm
telling
worried
you-
about the people on the internet.
I'm telling you, there's real bots out there now. They're coming. What's up, Los? Hey, we've talked to Los before. I know this is a real person.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, hey, I thought he was talking about Khaleesi. What? I didn't understand that joke, bro.
Don't worry about it. You can DM me. I'll explain it in the DMs.
Yeah, it's not appropriate.
Hey, honestly, I've been hearing two sides of the story on that Russia collusion. I heard a podcast with Jimmy Dore. He said that was all debunked. And then I heard some other people say that.
So you heard you heard Jimmy Dore and Joe Rogan is what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard it from multiple sources, but I mean,
Could I ask you a question?
What's the quick rundown on it?
Well, yeah. So when you listen to these types of discussions, I think here's what's important to recognize. Jimmy Dore and Joe Rogan on that podcast, did they ever bring up the fact that there were 34 people that were indicted? Might be 32. I might have 34 mixed up. Did they ever bring that up?
No, I guess they didn't bring up any actual legal
Did they ever bring up that Trump's campaign manager was one of the people that pled guilty?
They actually pled guilty in court?
Yeah, his campaign manager, the person running his campaign, who was accused of using the campaign and working with Russia, pled guilty to crimes involving Russia. And it's like nobody disagrees anymore. Russia Today, there's a bust on a Russian bot farm. Everybody knows Russia interfered. There's Senate reports. The FBI says that. Every intelligence agency says that. The only morons still not saying it are people that are on the right, and that includes Jimmy Dore, who lies about being on the left.
So exactly, well, just so I could look into it for myself, what should I look up?
I would go watch the hearings from the Mueller report. Robert Mueller, you can go watch the congressional hearings, and all the evidence is presented there. Or you can read. Do you have what's the report called? The
Senate. There's a Senate Judiciary report, and I'm sure there's summaries of it, but there's it's just under 1,000 pages, a Senate Judiciary report, and there's subsequent hearings about it. Let me look.
But I mean, at this point, everybody. Do you think that Russia isn't interfering in our elections? That they're not pushing out propaganda to American media and to social media?
Well, I think China and Russia both have a vested interest in kind of manipulating people with a certain narrative.
Yeah, and we do it in their
100%.
countries too. Just to be clear, we also do this. So it's not like the United States is clean for this. But the reason that this became a big issue is it was the first time ever that a candidate for president openly was just accepting that help from Russia. He even said it on the stage. He invited Russia to share information about Hillary Clinton with him. Russia, if you have it, send it to me. I mean, Russian diplomats came to Trump Tower to give him dirt. Steve Bannon, one of his closest aides and member of his campaign, he was running Cambridge Analytica, and Cambridge Analytica got caught working with Russia, and they were behind both Brexit and the Trump campaign, working with Russia, sharing polling data, sharing strategies. I mean, this stuff at this point, if you're saying that Russia was a hoax, then you're just a person who only believes what Donald Trump and other Republicans tell you. You're not looking at the data.
So, I mean, if that is true, how can he legally be running for president if they have already kind of exposed that?
You would have to tie it directly to him, and it's not tied directly to him. It's tied to people on his campaign staff. So the people that have been caught worked for Trump, but they've never been able to tie it directly to him.
So you don't do you agree with any sort of narrative on the right, like any narrative?
I don't know. You'd have to pick one. I mean, look, the crazy thing is I used to, but somehow this party went from, this was the party of our most significant foe is Russia, and they switched overnight to Russia's the good guy. Like Mitt Romney got laughed at by all media sources when debating Obama, and he said that Russia was our biggest foe, and Obama mocked him, and he was right. Obama was wrong about that. Mitt Romney was right, but that was the Republican idea. That was the Republican talking point, and it didn't change until Donald Trump started openly asking for help from Russia.
So like, because I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories out, but do you believe in any of them? Like, do you think every single conspiracy theory label is fake?
No, I think when it is I think that people misunderstand what a conspiracy theory is. It's a theory, so that means it's not proven, and it relies on a conspiracy or people conspiring together. So there have been many conspiracy theories that were proven true. Things like our CIA doing Iran Contra. What was the one under Obama where they were running guns? What's that called?
Oh, Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious, yeah. Like those were all conspiracy theories too before they were proven. So it's not that conspiracy theories are bad or that like all of them are wrong. It's just that the problem I have is Republicans, when the conspiracy theory is proven wrong or the data is overwhelming, they just stand by it. They just keep going with it.
So you don't believe in I mean, the reason I like Trump is I think he
Are you muted?
Yeah. Did you get a call? Yeah, I didn't.
No, even if he is controlled opposition or whatever people say, I think he's the best chance we have of fixing the economy to more of a free market. And I guess I lean more to free markets in every scenario.
Well, if you want a free market, in order to have a true free market, the giant corporations have to be heavily regulated. The reason we don't have a true free market system right now is because we have giant corporations who have power that nobody else has. And if you think that Donald Trump is going to help with that, like have the markets free up, then you're going to have to explain to me how cutting taxes for the people at the top and deregulating is going to make the market more free. My argument would be that if you want more free markets, you need more government regulation, because right now the markets are not free. Specifically, places like Amazon, like Walmart, Microsoft, Apple, all tech companies. Like it's not a free market. Those companies are so big now that you can't compete with them.
And Trump doesn't want free markets. He's into crony capitalism. That's the perversion of capitalism is Trump's brand of capitalism, right? Like hand out favors, give me $1 billion and I'll deregulate oil and gas. Like it's the opposite of a free market.
Let me try and explain it this way, Los. Like let's just say the country's starting now. If the country was starting now, it would be a good idea to not have massive regulation, because you don't want everybody having to jump through all these hoops to start a business. You don't even know what your economy is going to look like. So it would make sense to not have a lot of regulation. But right now we're in a situation where if we deregulated, if we deregulate more, who has the upper hand? Is it us or is it the people with hundreds of billions of dollars?
It would definitely, like if it happened overnight, it would not be in the favor of the mass common people.
And that was the case with almost all of the deregulation under Trump his first term. The benefits from his deregulation went almost exclusively to the 1%. And that's because they have so much money, right? So if we're starting from scratch, I get it, but we're not starting from scratch. If we deregulate now, that is less power for you. It's less power for me. It's less power for small businesses, individually owned businesses. Corporations suddenly are kings, like even more so than they are now.
Yeah, I see your point. So it would definitely have to be a slow transition if it ever did happen.
Well, we got to get the money out of the top of the economy, right? Like it's all concentrated at the top with the donor class, the billionaires, and we have to recirculate that money. But yeah, if we started all at zero, then I'll be a libertarian and we can try the free market 100%. It's just yeah, like we have to get the money out of the top of the economy.
Yeah, no, that sounds very reasonable. Because I guess it's not black and white to just say free market tomorrow, free for all, anarchism. But I guess
Yeah,
I would
we
want a
have to have a more
minimal.
yeah, we need to get more fair first before we deregulate. We like that's the thing that I think a lot of people sometimes get hung up on. I don't believe like I'm not a socialist, I'm not a free market guy, I'm not a capitalist. I believe that like capitalism is flawed, socialism is flawed. Whatever ideology you have, it's flawed. And you create systems to keep each other in check. Right now we have unchecked capitalism. And the only way to check capitalism right now would be more socialistic policies, things like universal health care, raising taxes, closing loopholes, things that force the money to be circulated more evenly. But you can overcorrect in either direction. The point is right now we have overcorrected in favor of capitalists, and now people with the capital are able to expand their wealth exponentially in a way that none of us can. The best way to make money in this country is to have money, and then it just like it makes itself. Think about people like Shaquille O'Neal. He is a billionaire. If Shaquille O'Neal didn't have millions of dollars from playing in the NBA, would he have the wealth that he has now? Absolutely not. But he had all this money, and now it's easier for him to keep making money. Once you establish a certain level, your growth is exponential. But for us, everyday Americans, it is so incremental, our growth, and it is a lot of times not dependent on things that are in our control.
Would you
Right? So
say that has something to do with how most people are trying to escape the devaluation of their currency through inflation by trying to buy assets such as stocks, real estate, basically things that are not being produced as fast as the currency and it's not being outpaced by it. So, and most common people do not have assets. They just have bank accounts with living paycheck to paycheck. So they are the ones that are really taking the short end of the stick when it comes to money printing. And people like Shaquille O'Neal, like that already have money to invest in these assets that continue to grow with inflation. Those are the ones that are winning. And so I think that's really why the winners are getting or the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer, just due to that simple dynamic of the currency devaluation.
Yeah, it's a matter of I saw something the other day where one of
Sometimes
the
devaluing
oh, go
currency
ahead.
is good. Oh, sorry. No, I'm
You
just
go.
making that people, sometimes countries purposely devalue their currency, right? Because it makes their exports cheaper. I mean,
It makes
it
the
makes their money cheaper and it boosts their exports, right? Like that's why currency fixing is illegal because I mean, it depends on the situation whether you want to like sometimes countries are purposely devaluing their currency.
Well, they do it mostly just so the debt burden is not so heavy no more.
It's
So
to
I
boost
guess it's
exports
less.
and it makes them more competitive in the global market and it's illegal.
Well, yeah, I mean, in the current market that we're in, it's just best to play by the rules that have been set on the board, instead of playing some other game that obviously doesn't work. That's
Yeah,
why.
and we're just advocating to change the game. I agree with you. Like you have to operate within the system that's there, but that doesn't mean that you also can't at that same time operate in that system and advocate for changes that are more fair, right? So for we're all operating in the same system, and I think some people are like, well, that's just the way it is, so deal with it. I don't agree with that. I say like we should always, as a country, be trying to make our system as fair as possible. That should be our goal. The system should always be as fair as possible. We don't have to look at what's happening right now and say, "Oh, well, would you rather be communist China?" No. No, I would rather our system be fair. That's like it's not one or the other. It's not like if we regulate capitalism, suddenly capitalism goes away, right?
Well,
We
can I
just have
ask
to
you
make it more
something
fair.
that's really been on my mind is I've been trying to contemplate whether monopolies do form naturally or are they only formed through coercion and force that is facilitated through government lobbying or government favoritism and regulatory capture?
Well, yeah, it's a good question. So I think that's a simple answer. Would monopolies exist if people didn't try and create monopolies?
I guess, would monopolies exist?
Wait, hold on. I promise this is answering your question. Would monopolies exist if people didn't try and create monopolies?
If they didn't try to create them, then they would not exist. So
right. So that's why I say it's not.
Away...
They don't naturally. That's what I'm saying. They don't naturally form, right? But people form them, and it's our job to make sure that our laws are strong so that monopolies can't form. Because people are inherently going to get as much money as they want. They're going to try and collect as many assets as they can. So it's our job, like our laws need to make sure that people can't get more assets more easily than others. Like it should be a more fair playing system.
Well, I guess, can you form a monopoly without force or coercion?
Probably, hypothetically, yeah, you probably could.
I guess the only compelling argument I've heard from that is that they would just increase in size by buying out companies. But I mean, they increase that size because people keep spending money with them voluntarily. So, I mean, they have all the right to expand their corporation and be a natural monopoly.
Well, yeah, currently, sure, but I don't think you should. I don't think you should be allowed to do that. I think there's protections we could put in place for small businesses that make it so that they're not taken over by a monopoly. I mean, Amazon's the perfect example. All these people with cool products were sold this bill of goods, like, hey, you can go to Amazon and sell your product. And Amazon is just going to be the delivery system. They're going to fulfill the orders. They're going to deliver it. And then suddenly you see Amazon Basics. And Amazon Basics is just ripping off all of these people's designs and selling it and making a profit. They didn't do anything. They just allowed people to sell on their platform. Then they stole their ideas. And if you want your stuff to show up on Amazon, guess what else you have to do? You have to pay advertising. It doesn't just show up. Like the best option doesn't show up. The ones that are paying for advertising, they show up. So, but we could put something, we should definitely have had something in place that doesn't let Amazon just rip off people's designs and sell them.
Yeah, I guess, shit, it gets pretty complex once you really start thinking about all of it.
Yeah, come back later this week. We're out of time and I have a hard
time.
Yeah,
I'll let you guys go and y'all have a great week.
All right, brother. We'll see you. I'm honestly exhausted.
Mentally, I know. I got you.
All right, everybody.
Good times.
Let me read some last comments. Wayne says, does Dale respect the reach around? Dale, if you're still here, if you could answer
what?
Wayne, do you respect the reach around? I love you guys. Felice, you teach me so much. Thanks for all the knowledge. RTP is okay too. That's our most common comment, I think. Ginger says, if a cow doesn't produce milk, is it a milk dud or an utter failure? That's a good question.
Milk dud or an utter failure. We've heard that. That's a good one. I like that one.
Fun fact, Milk Dud's top 3 favorite candy for me.
Get stuck in your teeth though.
It's fine. Then the snack, and then you get the snack longer. It just stays in there. You kind of lick it.
Dogs. Thank you.
Yeah, it's like a sucker. Felix says, I'm in love with Felice's brain.
Hey, that's the nicest compliment. Thank you.
Well, it was a question. I believe there was a question mark at the end, so I'm not sure.
Maybe it's the jury's out on that.
Jury's out. Guys, thank you so much for all the support, for the gifts, for the growth. We hit 2.6 thousand viewers today. I'm pretty sure that's the highest we've ever gotten. Thank you guys so much.
Raise the roof awkwardly, Jay. Come on, raise the roof.
No, I can't do it.
I know you literally can't do it.
Oh, Jen,
raise the roof, everyone.
I got
Get
this,
your
Jen.
arms up.
Okay, you want to leave this up here?
Yeah, leave that up. So thank you guys so much. Honestly, it means the world. We definitely wouldn't keep doing this if you guys didn't show up and share and engage with our content. So we appreciate it. We would like to raid Jaden today. It's Jaden Libranvo. I don't know what the fuck that means. I love Jaden.
I love his voice. He's a voice actor, right?
Yeah, that's probably something brilliant that I don't understand. But raid Jaden, tell him that we sent you. And Felice will see many of you tonight. Are you 3:30 Pacific? Is that?
I think so. As long as I'm feeling okay. Yeah, Nemo and I will be on Jeff's live. Nemo.says at 3:30ish whenever Jeff starts his live.
Perfect. And then I will see you guys tomorrow morning. Hopefully Felice makes it through tonight.